When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk, people.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Make We Talk program, a special edition of Make We Talk this evening. We're going to speak about SSL. Is the government of Jamaica speaking the truth about SSL? This evening I have with me a well-known son of the soil, in a sense. He was born in London, England, Dr. John Lennon. Am I pronouncing him correctly?
Yep, correct, Jeffrey. John Lennon.
John Lennon, Dr. John Lennon. Welcome to the Make We Talk program. We're also going to have this evening retired FBI agent, attorney at law, talk show host, Wilfred Rattigan. We're also going to have human rights activist, political commentator Luke George Cooke will be coming on soon. John, welcome back to the program. Welcome to the program. The first time on Make We Talk, eh?
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. Pleasure.
John, tell me something. Before we get into the whole SSL thing, who is John Lennon?
Who?
Who is Dr. John Lennon? Tell the audience who you are.
Well, I said I was born in England, but my parents returned to Jamaica when I was a child and brought me all back to Jamaica, or brought me to Jamaica. I spent all my adolescence in rural Clarendon, so I know I've experienced poverty, and I hate poverty with a real vengeance, a real passion. And that's what really drives me with my advocacy at the moment. You know, everybody knows that poverty is created, it's not natural. And unfortunately, in our black countries, our leadership or governance or lack of it perpetuates poverty. And it's pretty sad that we as black people just cannot seem to rise up against it and fight it. It's very frightening. So we're in 2023 and we're just not getting anywhere. At least in Niger and a few other Western African countries now, they've decided to have a fight back. But we need to have a fight in Jamaica. We can't continue on the road that we're going on. It's just leading to destruction.
You're so right. We can see where our good friend Wilfred Rattigan is joining us with Wilfred Rattigan. There he is, the man from Waterhouse. Are you hearing us, Mr. Rattigan? Ratty, are you hearing us?
He isn't.
Mic check. Mic check.
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear in Waterhouse and all over the place. Are you hearing us?
Mike.
We are hearing you loud and clear.
He brought all this newfangled computer IT.
Mike.
We are hearing you. Are you hearing us? By sort of shibanga and you know how to use it, you know.
Exactly. And why is he shouting to Mike? Who's Mike? Who is Mike? Leave Mike out of it.
We're we're going to speak about Rattigan. Are you hearing us? Let's give him a call because I want to know what is going on with him because he's not hearing us at all.
Yeah, he's muted now.
I don't know what's going on with him. Ratty, we are hearing you loud and clear now. What's going on with you? Until he comes up, we're going to have the conversation, Dr. John Lennon. Dr. Lennon.
No, just call me John, Jeffrey. Just John.
Okay, John. Okay. John, based on what we're hearing in the whole system here, where it's that thousands of SSL, thousands of Jamaicans left wondering about the investment at SSL, the investment at SSL. And there's another one that says SSL insurance claim, no government support for SSL. They get millions of dollars from SSL in the sense of insurance claim. The question we want to ask this evening, Dr. John, I have a little thing that believe in the government of Jamaica, you know. When it comes on to that, because at one point they said they will be helping SSL to pay their staff. At no time at all did the world-class Minister of Finance, Dr. Nigel Clark, said to us that there is some insurance money that SSL may get. Is it that? Let me not be pessimistic, but I'm trying to figure out something here. What is your views on it, sir?
I'd like to know how they got an insurance claim, and an insurance claim for what? So you put in an insurance claim that there's been corruption and your money's been stolen. I mean, would you, as an insurer, offer that as a product? I find it very bizarre. I don't understand it. I'd like to see the documents because I said I don't understand it.
Because I'm gonna play a clip in here by a news outlet that Minister Clark released to the Jamaican people. The government of Jamaica will no longer be required to provide financial support to the troubled investment firm Stocks and Security Limited. That's according to a statement by the Minister of Finance and Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark. And this is what he said, John.
SSL received the insurance payout of $1 million on September 7. That's equivalent to about 156 million Jamaican dollars. The money allowed SSL to settle the remainder of its August staff salary bill on Monday, September 11. Dr. Clark says the new development means no public funds have or will be used to support SSL in the payment of any of its employees or any other of its expenses. Meanwhile, the finance minister had good news for clients of SSL. He says starting Friday, September 22, 2023, SSL clients will have the opportunity to transfer their Jamaican dollar securities from SSL's custody to the dealers of their choice. Any Jamaican dollar cash balances belonging to them will also be transferred to a bank of their choice. Dr. Clark expects 1/3 of all client balances held by SSL to be transferred within days. He says all Jamaican dollar transfers should be made within 6 weeks. But he says those securities denominated in U.S. currency may take a while longer, given the collaboration needed between SSL, US-based regulators, and other investment houses. Meanwhile, the finance minister says given the progress of the fraud investigation and the winding down of operations at SSL, the services of 22 members of staff will no longer be needed by the end of November. That will leave only 8 staff members on the books of SSL by the start of December. Dr. Clark says it should be noted, however, that the complete removal of SSL as a contingent liability of the GOJ requires a final determination on the issues surrounding who has a proper authority over the entity. That matter currently remains before the court.
Based on all of that you hear, Dr. John, Ratty, are you hearing us now?
Yeah, man. Loud and clear.
Oh Lord, it looked like they were trying to stop you from talking about Camellia Johnson Smith.
You look that way.
No, we're not going to talk about the good minister tonight. No.
Mr. Rattigan, welcome to the program, sir. As an attorney at law, sir, and a retired FBI agent, you have seen the news circulating around about SSL. Based on what you just heard from that news clipping about the minister, what the minister is saying, what is your views on all of this, sir?
Well, you know what? It's a while I haven't done any check on research on insurance, but supporter sent me this, and he said that there are two types of insurance issued to financial institutions. One of them is a professional insurance, indemnity, and that's where the financial institution, they give out bad advice, and then the people or the customers, clients who relied on that advice, they can sue the financial institution to recover. The second one is called fidelity insurance, and that's when staff members steal, and then the insurance will cover the stolen funds. I've never heard of an insurance where they cover salaries for onboard employees who are not suspected of being involved in any fraud, any theft, or anything like that. I've never heard of that. And it's funny that the minister never made this aware to any of us until recently. I mean, he could have said this a while back, saying that they have insurance and we're pursuing that angle to see if the insurance company will make the payout, so that then we can. And that's transparency. That's full disclosure, right? That should have come out from way back when. So it's like somebody said, hanky panky going on, but we're here to do the fact check. Yes, Paulette. Yes, we are going to do the fact check, because everything seems too contrived. It's like you catch them right here and they come up with an answer here. You catch them right here, they come up with another answer. And then when you look at the totality of the circumstances, the things just don't make any sense. So
and not only that, Mr. Rattigan and John, is that, can we believe the Minister of Finance based on what he's coming out with? First, he lied to the people of Jamaica about the FBI coming into Jamaica, and I'm not making apology to nobody. You know, I was warned this evening that I must desist from saying certain things about family members. So let me continue. Based on what the minister is coming out with, I can't believe that the Minister of Finances, to me, as a Jamaican citizen, and what is going on in the land of wood and water. I can't believe him. He said to us that the FBI is in Jamaica investigating SSL. And that's a blatant lie to the people of Jamaica, to the diaspora. John?
Oh yeah, it's a lie, 100% a lie. As Will said that months ago, that the FBI aren't here. The FBI are here in a capacity that they're at the embassy, I think he said, like one person, and that's it, and not investigating SSL. So it's a blatant lie.
Yeah. Let me mind my manners, and I forgot my manners. Good evening, sir. Good evening, John. Good evening, Jeffrey. Good evening to the listening audience and the viewing audience. My apologies. Should have said that when I first opened my mouth, but you know, better late than never. Yeah. But no, John is absolutely correct. There is.
I'm glad you don't want to talk again either. Wilfred Rattigan.
Unbelievable.
It seems that Camilla Johnson froze your system, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she's got some special voodoo working on Will.
It seems that Rattigan drop into one of those ditch there. You
God.
know how Matty Perkins laugh? Hold on there.
You can, oh yeah. But there's nothing there's nothing there with and then you know what?
Hold
You
on a
don't even
minute.
have to take my word for it.
You have
Right?
to go back. You
Hold on.
disappeared.
No, but
bro.
what you said because Camilla Johnson me drop you off a while ago.
Yeah.
No, but oh, somebody said good evening with my pop down mic. My mic good, man. I want to tap on my mic now. My mic good, man.
Now start again, Will. You disappeared. You were hanging
Start
and
over,
then
but
you
tell me a
disappeared.
while ago.
Yeah. Tune in. All right.
We're hearing you.
You can see me now. You can hear me now.
We can see and
Yeah.
hear. Camilla can see you too.
Yeah, but what I was saying is that you don't have to take my word for it that the FBI is not there. Just take Mr. McLaughlin, the gentleman who's in charge of CTOC. I mean, he was interviewed way back when, and he said, this is after the minister said, oh, the FBI is here and they're doing great work and blah, 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 blah. And I said, if he meant one person, yes. If he meant a team of FBI agents who traveled to Jamaica to deal with this thing, you know, they are a large data analytics person, a couple analysts, a couple investigators, a team leader. That didn't happen. But then Mr. McLaughlin, contrary to what the minister said, stated that this was a local investigation, that the CTOC, the JCF, they were properly equipped to deal with this type of investigation, and that the FBI would be called in if and when necessary to assist. But as of the point that he spoke, he said, no, they're not here. And then the minister came out after and said, well, you know, he was referring to a local investigation, but there's something, it's no, the FBI is not there. Not a team of them there.
So what do you think is going on, Mr. Rattigan? He never come out and tell the people of this country that SSL has an insurance that cover XQYZ. He came out and tell the people of Jamaica that taxpayers may have to foot the bill of how much millions of dollars for the month. And now all of a sudden, the Lord work a miracle with 3 fishes and 3 loaves of bread. And they find that SSL have insurance money.
Look, I spoke to the minister recently, and I told him, I said, look, sir, with all due respect, I said, you're a bright guy, you're eloquent, you're talented, and if I said, part of the problem is that you don't have good people around you, because there's no way your advisors should have, as I said, your advisors, they're part of the reason why you're in this pickle, because some of the things that he said, I don't know if they didn't believe people would fact check, or, you know, people would, you know, do some digging and find out. But for example, and I told him this, I said, Minister, if I were advising you, you would stay in your lane. You would talk about the financial part of it and say, look, you know, I'm here to ensure the financial health of the industry in Jamaica, you know, the finance industry,
right,
sector. And so I'm prepared to provide whatever support I can to the investigators to do their job. And then he should have said at that point, I'm going to turn this conversation over to the Minister of National Security, right? Or the Minister of Justice, and then just stay in your lane. Because when he came on Lonesome's program months ago, and I started asking him about the investigation, he made it abundantly clear to me that he was a policy person. He wasn't involved with investigation. And then all of a sudden, I see now where he's talking about investigation. And then when you jam him up now and start asking him some serious questions about it, then he wants to go back and say, well, then no, I'm a policy person. You can't have it both ways. So I told him that part of the problem is that he's getting bad advice. Now, some people make the argument that he's getting bad advice, but also he's not being truthful. And see, the thing is, and like you said, can we trust them? Because of so many things, we're not people. If you can't come out and say, I trust my politician, then it means you have no trust. And so when you ask people, do you trust him? The best you'll hear is that, well, you know, he's getting bad advice. And that's when people just really don't want to come out and condemn him. But he needs to just stay in his lane and just continue the good fight. And then also, like you said, the thing about it is that a lot of the things, they come out piecemeal. They don't come out in a fashion where people can understand and say, okay, I see what's going on. I see where we're going. It's a good step or it's a bad step. And then you can offer your critique. But if you only respond, if there's a crisis and you only respond when pressed, then the perception is not good. It's not good. And that's where we are.
And,
somebody said a lion.
Yes, and not only that, Mr. Rattigan, you remember what they had a big event in Washington, D.C., where they had a town hall meeting with the goodly ambassador and Ambassador Ardremark. And question was posed to the Minister of Finance by myself. Me do it. May I ask the minister, can you tell the people of Jamaica and the people of the diaspora if the FBI is truly in Jamaica is investigating SSL? You know what the minister did, John?
Tell us now.
He flew an Air Jamaica plane, I don't know Air Jamaica anymore, to London from Jamaica. Then come back to Jamaica, go back to New York, to Washington, then come back to Jamaica, land at Negril Point, and somebody can go to Moran Point at Ian Fleming's International Airport, and bring come back to Norman Manley. Until this blessed day, this man don't answer the question. Am I lying, Mr. Rattigan?
No, you're right. I was there. I was present for that meeting online.
So I don't know about you two gentlemen on the platform here, but I am prepared to call the minister pathologically mendacious individual.
That's a fancy way of saying he's a liar.
I didn't hear you, John.
That's a fancy way of saying he's a liar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the word I want to use, I can't use it.
Okay.
You have to be very careful, you know. Is some word mixed up with the Jerry and its nephew. Another Pinks and Pablos in halfway tree.
Hey, Larkland said the PM missed the UN meeting this week. Well, the General Assembly, it lasts through next week. And
yes,
a lot of times, leaders will skip certain parts of it and then go when it's their turn, or there's somebody that they're interested in listening to. But also, Larkland, keep in mind that there is a huge conference going on in Jamaica and Montego Bay. Started yesterday. It's the International Drug Enforcement Conference, where we have representatives from about 120 countries meeting to strategize about ways and means and methods to deal with drug organizations. So the Prime Minister gave the opening remarks. So I think he might be on his way to New York, maybe tomorrow or so. But that's why he's not there right now, because he had to give the opening remarks. And it's so weird, because you would think that the Minister of National Security would be the keynote speaker for that. The Prime Minister doesn't have to be there for that. But you see, the Prime Minister and that's why I said when crime goes up, we have to blame him as well, because he's always front and center with these things. Remember the trip to New York in December? He was front and center. Yeah. This one, he's front and center. It's almost as if he has no faith and confidence that his Minister of National Security can deal with the problem. So now he's jumping in and he's dealing with the problem. So,
but not only that, Wilfred Rattigan, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of National Security, National Insecurity, he was the one who introduced the goodly gentleman. He was the one who introduced the Jamaican Prime Minister to the conference.
No, he was the one who introduced. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Prime Minister didn't have to be there.
No,
he didn't have to be there. You know, and
anyway,
look how stupid that is. They can't. Look how much coke. Jamaica's awash in cocaine, and them can't arrest nobody. Them arrest 2 fishermen, right? And I think that's about it. The big find, I wouldn't say haul or seizure, the big one out at the Ian Fleming Airport in Boscobel, St. Mary. Up to now, they haven't arrested anyone, even though we've been promised that. Look at the airplane that crash landed off of the coast of Clarendon, right?
Rocky Point.
Right, yeah. People are saying that plane was carrying cargo, and that the cargo was removed from the airplane onto vehicles. Moreover, they couldn't find the people aboard that aircraft, except that about 10 days or so later, the Minister of National Security said that the people who were aboard that aircraft, they've left the island. I was like, well, how do you know that? And why didn't you arrest them? I mean, it's
you see, it seems as if that plane brought in some of the Benjamin and Franklin, you know, and you know that they don't want it to become certain public, what should I say, interest to other people, so that, you know, they cut it down. Let us go back to SSL though. Wilfred Rattigan and John, do you believe, based on all of this, that maybe some money coming from the Jamaican coffers, and they say is insurance money?
Could be, because I don't understand. Again, I don't believe they've got insurance money. As Will was saying, there's 2 types of insurance that you can get. There's not an insurance that to pay your staff. Again, I think they have to prove it. It's easy to say that you get an insurance, but they should prove it. It's simple, prove it.
And then, if you remember, at one point they said that they were getting monies from FID, because they had an account where illicit gains. That was a repository for that account for illicit gains.
Yeah, 300 million.
Yeah, and they said the money was coming from there. But then what happened is that, remember, people started asking a whole bunch of questions about this account. They were saying, well, when was this account established? Where is it established? How much money is in it? Have we ever used it before? And if we did, when did we use it? Why did we use it? Who approved it? All of these things. And then all of a sudden now, when those questions are asked, we hear, oh, the money is coming from an insurance source. And I'm sure when we start ask questions, you know, this money will be coming from somewhere else. Because first it was coming from public coffers, then it was coming from that fund, that account managed by FID, and then now it's insurance. And now people are saying, well, wait a minute, well, how do you get insurance to pay for salaries? We never heard of that before. So we shall see.
So we have to ask the question also, where is that 10 or that 50 pound that was given to Jamaica as a grant to help with SSL? Where that money disappeared to?
Yeah, that's right. Didn't Miss Clark say that we got $10 million from England?
That was to help with the investigation.
No.
So where disappeared to?
Yeah, where is it?
Huh? Oh, where is it?
That's it.
Yes. I guess it's the same place where the money that they got from Vice President Camilla for at-risk kids. I guess that's where that money went. And the money that they don't forget, the money that the Foreign Secretary from the UK came this year and gave them money for the same purpose. We don't hear anything about those monies.
Let us switch gear from SSL to a lady who believes that the Jamaican Parliament belongs to her. That is her house. As she run things. I don't understand what is going on in this country. Wilfred Rattigan and John, do you believe that Jamaica becoming a modern day democracy, dictatorship?
It's not a democracy, I can tell you that much. It's quite remarkable attitude to all of this. Somehow, she has somehow forgotten for how many years? 5, 6 years, that she a lovely Merc sitting in her driveway, and yet she doesn't declare it. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever heard. And then she wants the investigation, that she should lead the investigation or lead the team or something like that. It's just preposterous. I don't understand this country. Really, it's a banana republic I'm living in. Really, it's a bona fide, a bloody banana republic.
I see you have a GG.
Wilfred Rattigan.
I see you have a GG in the chat. If it's the GG that I know from Waterhouse, big up yourself, GG, and raise your hand, let me see you. So we know say you and it's not another GG. But anyway, this idea that this idea of the speaker trying to railroad the integrity commission's process,
yes,
is just amazing that they think they can get away with these things. And you know what? They do it because they think they can get away with it. But this is a different era. You know, the era of my parents and my grandparents where they could just say anything and, you know, they talk over the people's heads and people just say, okay, fine, it's the government, it must be okay. Those days are over. Because here's what happened, right? This woman, sorry, shouldn't style her as that, speaker, MP Dalrymple, she filled out a form, right, to get the 20% benefit of bringing the car based on her position, right?
Right.
And the car was, I think, was for 6 million. And well, let me back up again. What she should have done when this story broke, keep her mouth shut. Don't write anything. She says she has a lawyer. Let the lawyer speak for you. That's why you hired a lawyer. But she came out and she drafted a statement saying that she has nothing to hide. What she didn't
no,
probably
but not only that, Wilfred Rattigan. Remember she said, sorry to be cutting you. Remember she said, you know, that she don't own a Benz.
No, she own the Benz. She own the Benz. The title, no, if she says she don't own a Benz, no, she's right. Or own that Benz because it's been sold. So she no longer owns it. But there was a point when her name was on the title because she was she was the one who brought the car came in. I think it was 6 million, and her brother-in-law took out a loan for 5.8, and then her brother-in-law and somebody else put up the 200,000 deposit. Now, I don't know if it's possible in Jamaica, but I know it's not possible here for you to have title to a vehicle and then you ask somebody else to go get a loan on that vehicle. It doesn't work like that.
That sounds like some bandolo business.
Right. And then if you read the letter that purportedly she drafted, it's terrible. She convicted herself. And I don't know who told her to write that letter. Because one of the things I found out is that when you that car that came in, that she got the 20% off of, you have to do a monthly thing. If she's using it for job purposes, you have to do a monthly thing to get reimbursed by the our some funding from the government. Then how can she claim that she didn't know that she owned this car and she's claiming, if she did claim that monthly stipend? Also, how can you claim you didn't own the car when you sold the car? And then how can you claim that you don't own? Here's what she said. She said the car was used primarily by her sister, her brother-in-law, and her nephew, right?
Right.
And she said, occasionally I would drive the car. That's what she said. Then the sister was interviewed, and the sister said the car was primarily used by the speaker.
The speaker.
Yeah, she said the speaker's the one who used that car. But no, here's what they need to do. What they need to do is simply this. There's an issue with the bank. How can you give out a loan to somebody for a vehicle and they don't own the vehicle? If that's who the loan went to, because that's what the speaker said. The loan was taken out by her brother-in-law.
Right.
Right. So here's what I would do. I would be investigating the speaker. I would investigate the speaker's sister. I would investigate this speaker's sister's husband, her brother-in-law. I would investigate her nephew. That's her sister's son. the person she claimed also used the car.
Hold on there,
And
Will.
then I would also investigate the banks
Because
and
this
some
is
of
what,
those, all of the people associated with that car. Because here's what happened. And this is just like Minister Kamina Johnson Smith's case. Any argument you make is a bad argument.
yes.
Because if she said the car wasn't mine, then the concession that she got, the concession was for her, right? So how you cannot purchase a car, get the concession, and then give it to somebody else until 3 years elapse, right?
But
3 years must elapse, and then you can do that. So the question is, what was she doing with it before? And then how can you say you don't own the car? The car is in your name. You sold the car, you drove the car, but the car is not there. And then you said you forget. But here's why she's saying she forgot. Because I think it's section 34 of the Integrity Commission Act. It says that a person who knowingly, and that's the key word, knowingly.
Knowingly, yes.
So she's saying, I didn't know. She's not saying I didn't do it or whatever. She's saying I didn't know. I forgot. So she's saying I didn't have knowledge. There was no specific intent. That's what she's saying on my part to commit fraud or to violate the Integrity Commission's rules. That's what she's saying. She's saying I didn't know. But it's not gonna work because how could you not know? And who's paying the mortgage? Who was paying the bill anyway? The payments, the monthly.
Hold on
payments.
there. Let us get this news clipping to find out who was doing that, because it says she said the vehicle was purchased for $6 million and financed by a loan of $5.8 million from Sagicor Bank. She says the loan was taken out by her sister's spouse, and a deposit of $200,000 was paid by her husband. Listen to this.
Mrs. Dalrymple Philibert says in 2015, she applied for and obtained a concession to purchase a motor vehicle. She says the vehicle was purchased for $6 million and financed by a loan of $5,800,000 from Sagicor Bank. She says the loan was taken out by her sister's spouse, Lincoln Eatman, and a deposit of $200,000 was paid by both her husband and Mr. Eatman. Mrs. Dalrymple Philibert explained the circumstances which caused her to, in her own words, genuinely forget to add the vehicle to her declarations. She says,
So hold on here now. It looked like termite eating out the brain, Wilfred Rattigan.
But how did she get a concession? That's the thing, isn't it? She got a concession, as Will was saying, she got a concession. So if somebody else is taking out the loan, how can she be getting a concession? Because she's not buying the car, is she?
Hold on
Exactly.
there. Listen to this more.
Exactly.
says the vehicle was used primarily by her sister as a spouse, and her nephew. She says she occasionally used the vehicle when she was in Kingston. This, she says, was due to the fact that she and her husband own more than one motor vehicle. Mrs. Dalrymple Philibert says as a rural MP, she preferred driving a SUV because of the rough terrain that she's accustomed to traversing when in South Trelawney. She says in using the concession to acquire the vehicle, the government of Jamaica placed a 3-year restriction on her ability to sell or transfer the vehicle. The vehicle remained in her name and was never sold to anyone until 7 years later, in May 2023. She says the vehicle was not sold to her sister, spouse, or any other family member. Mrs. Dalrymple Philibert says the Sagicor Bank placed a lien on the title until the loan was repaid in 2022. She says her ownership of the vehicle was on the books of Tax Administration Jamaica, Sagicor Bank, her insurance company, and the Motor Vehicle Examination Department. She says that at the time of filing her statutory declaration, she honestly forgot about the vehicle and did not include it among the list of other vehicles she declared. The speaker says when the Integrity Commission called her for a meeting, she reviewed her files and called the clerk to the Houses of Parliament. She says she requested a copy of the list of vehicles that she acquired using a motor vehicle concession.
So hold on here now, Wilfred Rattigan and John. Before we go any further with this thing here, let me ask this question, Wilfred Rattigan. You're a former FBI agent and attorney at law. You hearing me?
Yes.
Wouldn't you know how much vehicle you have in your garage, sir?
Look, this is, I mean, I think Lion put it up here and saying that I think he wrote in there, Camina equal Dalrymple or something like that.
Right.
And I'm reading the chat, and they're right on point. Now here's the thing. She's admitted now to owning the car, you know. You know what she said? She forgot to put it on her statutory declaration. So she's saying, yes, I should have. So the idea that she's saying, well, I didn't drive it and I didn't do this and it's immaterial. It's immaterial because she's saying, look, I should have put it on. So the only thing they have to show now is that she knowingly did it. Not whether or not she did it, but that she knowingly did it. And that's easy because the sister is saying, look, she was the one who was driving the car. She was the one who was driving the car. And then we know that she was the one who brought the car in. We know that she was the one who got the concession. We know that that somebody paid the monthly upkeep, the vouchers that she had to put in. It's going to be interesting to see if she was the one who was actually collecting those funds, saying that she was using the car, right? So then if you did all of those things, it's going to be hard for you to say, I didn't know, or you're going to say, I forgot. And then look at when the car was sold. And who sold the car? She was the one who sold the car because the title was in her name. Somebody else couldn't have sold it for her. She was the one who sold the car.
And John, if the money is coming out of her salary, her account, she must know that the money is coming out of her account towards the car.
No, exactly. I just don't understand it. As I said, they believe that they're unaccountable and they can do and say as they please. And as Will said, those days are over. We have social media now. It's so much easier for people to dig around and find information. You know, we got younger people, you know, older people might not do it because they're not IT savvy. But a lot of people are going to be digging around to find this information. But as I said, she's paying for the car. If she's paying for the car, they can prove that she's paying for the car, that it's her car. But we know it's her car anyway.
Is it that this woman owns so much cars that she do not know where her cars are?
It looks that way, doesn't it, brother? It really looks that way. Yeah. Lovely little Merc she has sitting there and just doesn't use it because she can use an SUV or something else. Quite remarkable.
And on the other hand now, when she presented certain things to the parliament, because yesterday she was judge, jury, and executioner. And when the leader of opposition get up to speak, she couldn't speak because she was there rubber her mouth. And it seems as if they have a new mic system in the parliament where the children have to listen to the mother before them can speak. The children have to ask the mother.
Look, I don't have any problem with the microphone system because, I mean, for proper decorum, they don't want people shouting over each other and all that stuff. I don't have any problem with that. I just have a problem with her actions, what she did, right? And then also for her to say that she's referred the matter to the Oversight Committee. No,
and she's the chairman.
Understand what this Oversight Committee is. The Oversight Committee, Committee. She's the chairperson of the Oversight Committee, and there are 8 people on that committee, 5 of whom are government officials, and 3 from the opposition. 5 from the government, 3 from the opposition. So that's what they're, and also that Oversight Committee is only there to look at the function of the Integrity Commission, not its recommendation. Its recommendations have no business going before this committee. So she's stalling. She's trying every trick in the book. But the thing about it is that, like you said, those days are over when you could try those tricks and get away with them. There are people out there now who are sensible. There are people who are reading, and there are people who are unafraid to talk. There are not people here who are not afraid to expose what's going on. So that's it. So I don't know how she's gonna get out. Look, as far as I'm concerned, there, and I saw in the chat where somebody said that the Minister of Information said that we're trying to besmirch the reputation of the government and that nothing like that and blah 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 blah. Well, we shall see.
Well, let me say this. The Minister of Misinformation, he's the one who is bringing on the reputation of the government of Jamaica. not no YouTube or Facebook users. The Minister of Misinformation, the goodly Robert Nestor Morgan, he's the one who is bringing down the reputation of the wholeness administration. He's the worst minister of information in the history of this country. This is what opposition leader.
What we need to do with the Minister of Information is, and just take my simple and foolish advice: ignore ignorance. Just leave him alone.
We have a point.
Yeah,
leave him
I'd
alone.
agree with that. Yeah.
Let's leave him alone.
There is a news article. Opposition leader Mark Goldin say the Mistress Dalrymple Philibert must accuse herself.
Recuse.
Recuse herself rather. Recuse herself as House Speaker as the investigation by the Integrity Commission continues.
Of course.
And this is what he said.
Jeffrey, let me tell you something.
Go ahead.
What they need to do is they need to arrest all of them, because you're going to talk. Because trust me when I tell you this. Trust me, I don't have any evidence of this. But my gut tells me that this is not the first time, and this is not the first politician. She's not the first politician to do something like this, where they bring vehicles in, they get the concession, the vehicles go to somebody else, they don't claim it on their statutory declaration. This is not the first time. So what they need to do is they need to apply the pressure on this lady. They need to let her know that, listen, we are going full force with this, and we're going to prosecute it to the fullest extent of the law, because we want you to spend 2 years in prison. Now, here is a problem. Here's a problem. Big problem. Remember, I don't know if I told you, but John and I, we were talking about this a while back on my program. The DPP is going to play a critical role here. That's why they didn't want to get rid of the DPP, I believe, because of the 6. The DPP can save them, because if the DPP says she has primacy over this, and if she says to the corruption prosecutor, I'm taking over the prosecution, that's the end of the story. And if she says, I'm not going to prosecute these people, according to the Constitution, she does not have to give a reason. She can take it over, she can prosecute, she can decline, she can do whatever she wants to do, because she's the supreme prosecutor in Jamaica. All right? Now, people have said, well, you know, she there's a court action, and so anything that she does, it's gonna be tainted, and so it can't stand. Not true. Not true. Just this afternoon, I was sitting down with a friend of mine, and we were going over the Jamaican Constitution, and it says, if the DPP did something beyond the age that she should have left, it does not make that thing invalid.
What?
You see what I'm saying? It does. That's in the Constitution. It's in the Constitution. It doesn't make it invalid. So if the argument is, well, she shouldn't have listened, she shouldn't have decided this because she was there beyond the age when she should have left.
Right.
Guess what? It's not invalid. It's not invalid, and that's in the Constitution.
So, Mr. Rattigan, is it that we have a constitution? Well, I know this, but a lot of Jamaicans don't know it. The Constitution was not made for the people of Jamaica. It was made for the people in authority.
Yeah.
Listen, I am doing the research right now, and I'm writing this thing up. I'm inviting your listening and the viewing audience to tune in to Reason with Rattigan this Saturday, because they are going to get a lesson in that document we call the Constitution. They're going to hear for the first time things that they're just going to blow their minds. They're not going to believe some of the things that I'm going to tell them. But not only am I going to tell them, I'm going to show them word for word in the Constitution where it's written. These things are enshrined in the Constitution. These things are embedded. And we'll have ISAT doing a presentation on fundamental rights and freedoms, chapter 3 of the Constitution. I will be doing a piece called, Will the Real Bro God Please Stand and Be Acknowledged? And I'm going to show in the Constitution who is the real bro God in Jamaica. So I invite everybody to tune in this Saturday.
Go ahead, Will.
But like I said to you, I think that's the reason why they're keeping this DPP around, because she can actually make this go away. And you know what the feeling is in Jamaica is everything is a 9-day wonder. So yeah, they'll probably say, look, let's take our chances. Let's make it go away, and then we just have to deal with this for 9 days. That's what I think. That's why I think that they're still holding on to her and she's still there. But it remains to be seen whether or not she's gonna be sworn in. But whether she's sworn in or not, once she says this case is no longer viable, I'm not going to prosecute this case, there is absolutely nothing that can be done in Jamaica. Nothing.
Well, that's what's going to happen then, isn't it? That's simple then. Yeah, all this talk about that she will go before the courts won't happen. None of them will go before the courts because the DPP won't allow it. It's simple as that.
Do you all remember, Wilfred Rattigan, when I said to you that when the Minister of Justice in Justice Delroy Truck came out and said that they want the DPP to stay on, what did I say to you? The 6 members of Parliament will never be charged.
Yeah.
I said it, I want to say it again. Those 6 members of Parliament who are under investigation by Integrity Commission will never be charged because they have a DPP inside there who do not, as what Wilfred Rattigan said, it is enshrined in the Constitution that if she overstay her age, it is still legit. So based on what is going on, Miss Dalrymple Philibert. Oh Lord. What happened to you again? Camila,
I don't know. Wish I could tell you.
Based on what is going on, Miss Dalrymple will not be charged of anything then? Because
No, she won't be.
If you have a DPP who is a yes man and a yes woman to those in the Parliament of Jamaica, and that is why I'm saying this and I continue to say this, Jamaica's constitution need to be reformed, and in the reform of the constitution, certain offices must not be appointed, it must be elected. It cannot continue wherein you have these people believe that they are the demigods and they are this and they are that. Let us go back to what Mark Golding was saying in the Parliament, because Miss Dalrymple decided to not listen to the opposition leader. This is what Mr. Golding was saying.
To the extent that that is an adverse report and an adverse ruling, she cannot continue to hold the office of Speaker until that matter is finally determined and the chips fall where they may. She must step back and somebody else must assume the chair as Speaker of the House. It was quite inappropriate and a violation of the principles of good governance for the person who is the subject of this report and this ruling to be deciding as Speaker what happens to it.
Mr. Golding is also calling on Prime Minister Andrew Holness to remove the goodly lady from the role as Speaker.
We are calling on the Prime Minister to ensure that the Speaker is removed from office until this issue is finally determined. Whatever the outcome is, so be it. If she is exonerated, so be it. If she is not and she's prosecuted, well, so be it as well. But she cannot remain the umpire of all decisions on the procedures of the House while she is under investigation for a serious matter like this.
John.
Look.
Go ahead.
I have no confidence that anything will be done, none whatsoever. So the DPP is all powerful, and so she'll just step in. That's the way I see it. That's why they'll get away with everything here. There's no accountability, and we'll never get accountability until we have a brand new constitution. That way we can fix things. Until that time, then we're done for. I don't see any way that Jamaica can improve with the constitution that we have now and the constitution that the JLP and PNP are going to bring in next year, whenever it is. But if we the people don't write our own constitution, then we won't have change in Jamaica.
Wilfred Rattigan?
Yeah, let me just read the because I'm telling you, I'm having fun with the constitution because I'm telling you, I read it way back when we just have an exam called JC in Jamaica when they had.
It's not
civics in school.
JC. It's
And-
is it JC or social study?
No, I think it was civics.
Civics,
It was
rather. Yes.
civics.
Yes.
But let me just read something to the people here. And this is coming straight from the Constitution. It says the DPP shall
It's
have
8
power
o'clock.
in any case in which he or she considers it desirable so to do. One, to institute and undertake criminal proceedings against any person before any court except court martial. Right? So the DPP one can bring a criminal case against anyone in any court. Number two, the DPP can take over and continue any criminal proceedings that may have been instituted by any other person or authority. So, for example, with the Integrity Commission, she could step in and take it over. Number three, she can discontinue at any stage before judgment is delivered any such criminal proceedings instituted or undertaken by herself or any other person or authority. So she can act. So three things: she can bring action against anyone in any court. Two, she can take over criminal actions from anyone who was brought a criminal action. And three, she can discontinue it at any stage before a judgment. Right? And then it goes on to say that the powers conferred upon the DPP shall be vested in her to the exclusion of any other person or authority. So no court, no integrity commission, nobody can tell her what to do. Once she make a judgment, that's it. And here is another: in the exercise of the powers conferred upon the DPP, in the exercise of the powers conferred upon the DPP by this section, the DPP shall not be subject to the direction or control of any other person or authority.
So that
Really,
means
it's clear.
So
It's
that
clear.
means, Mr. Rattigan, that any political party, whether the PNP or the JLP, can pick who they want to be for DPP and do all sort of shebang and get away with it.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm telling you, I'm asking the viewers and listeners to become students of the Constitution, because I found out something in this Constitution that, I mean, it's just amazing. I don't want to switch the topic, but there are things in this Constitution that, I mean, there are people in Jamaica outside of the Prime Minister who can change the government tomorrow if they feel like. And people are saying, oh, this man must be a madman. But tune in Saturday and you'll get the full 100 on it. But no, the DPP can do whatever she wants to do. And no, if she says, hey, you know what? I'm not going to bring this case. No Supreme Court is going to tell her, no, you have to bring the case.
So what are we going to do about this, Bill and Jeffrey? What are we going to do about it?
No. So I don't. Yeah, but here's what happened, Kezia. Couture clothing. Here's what happened. The thing about it is that once the crime has been committed, you can't talk. There's nothing can do about it. Like, for example, with this lady now, there's nothing them can do. The only thing they can do for the six, only thing they can do is have the DPP say, I'm not going to prosecute them. And you can just imagine what was going to happen in Jamaica at that point.
But
you can just imagine what's going to happen in Jamaica at that point.
Nothing's going to happen, Will.
You know
what?
Nothing will happen. I don't think anything will happen.
John, not with your input, my input, Jeffrey's input, Lonesome's input, Fireman input, all the other people talking about this. All the other people talking about this. Watch, I'm telling you, it's a different day, John. It's a different day. Because you know what will happen previously? Something like this will happen, and people wouldn't even know what the hell happened. They wouldn't question it. But we are questioning in real time. I mean, while it's happening, we're not questioning it like a year from now. You know, we're questioning it in. This just happened when?
Yesterday.
Monday or Tuesday?
Yesterday.
Tuesday, yes. Yeah, and we're talking about it now in real time. And I'm telling you, we're opening people's eyes, my brother. John, don't give up on the people of Jamaica. I know you have the experience, the sad experience of watching them just be apathetic, right? The thing happened and they just said it's set, we can't do nothing about it. But don't stop knocking on their doors. Please, I'm begging you, don't stop, John. Don't stop.
Yeah, but the thing is, Will, I talk about certain things and yet other bloggers won't talk about it. The things we talk about on your show, people are still oblivious to it. They're oblivious to the debt, they're oblivious to renewable energy, and they're oblivious to bauxite. That's because many of the bloggers who are much more popular than you just refuse to talk about these issues. And that's the biggest problem we have. If everybody were talking about this, then we'd have a fighting chance. But we don't. The little man in Thompson Town up in the rural areas is clueless about what's going on. He's not going to rise. We have a serious problem, Will. I have no confidence.
John, as what somebody said here, Freedom says in the chat room here, you must not watch that. Let us continue the talk. Let us continue speaking out for the fundamental rights of the Jamaican people. Whether it be SSL, Dam Rimpe Filiberta, Andrew Michael Holness, Mark Golden, or any one of them. The Governor General, all him do is go around and yam. I don't see sense of him in the house, what the place named King's House. All he does is go around and own places and yam. So the question must be asked, where are we going as a people? And we need solutions to all of this. We cannot have a constitution where the constitution giving the DPP power. And even if it's time for her to leave office and she said, okay, Wilfred Rattigan, XQYZ, it still remains. So that means those 6 parliamentarians who are under investigation will never see the doorstep of a courthouse.
Here's why, Jeffrey. If we don't talk about it and alert people, open up their eyes, take off the scales off their eyes so that they understand what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah, they won't. But you see, what we're doing now, there's an awakening. We're enlightening people about what's going on. And once people understand what's going on, then the change will come. The change can't come if you don't understand what's going on. It will be business as usual. And so I'm telling you that they may have planned and plotted for this, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work because if they try that, we're exposing to people said, look, here's a possible option for them to escape. Here's a possible escape route for them. And we're identifying it. Yes. So if we see that going on, once we see that going on, we know, and we're going to hold them accountable. So that's why I'm begging John. John, don't give up. I know John have a difficult time with them because he's put his heart and his soul into educating people about bauxite, the levy, renewable energy, the debt, and many other issues. And they're really not paying attention because a lot of the people, they're more concerned about what they're going to eat for dinner tonight. And as we know, 2/3 of Jamaica will go to bed tonight hungry or with a belly full of empty calories.
Yes.
We know that's going to happen. So hang in there, John. Hang in there with me, man. You can't jump. You can't jump ship yet.
we have with us community activist, human rights, and political commentator George Cooke. Luke, welcome to the program.
Jeffrey, it's always good to join you on your esteemed panel and your listeners as you discuss the issue of Jamaica, and you are all starting the awakening. Like that term, the awakening, because it is also used in spiritual world too. You're awakening the awakening of the consciousness of the Jamaican people. I don't know the story about John, but I can tell John. He has to have the faith of John the Baptist, even when they will tell Salome to dance and try to behead him. The truth is, for a long time in Jamaica, the people have only heard 2 descending voices, that of the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party. they have managed to silence everybody who have been critics of the two major tribes. But look at what is happening. Wilfred Rattigan started a court case. Today we recognize that the Speaker of the House, who likes to speak about the House of Representatives being the highest court in the land, as a lawyer by profession, but in filing her tax return, she forgot to leave out the 7 Series BMWs and Benz and so forth. So, John, the truth of the matter is that the culture of evil is pervasive in Jamaica. Let me just come on camera as I said that to you, my brother. The culture of evil is pervasive in Jamaica because good men like you, they frustrate you. And I understand that level of frustration. I have worked in the government and in the private sector, and I know that those who took over from the former slave master and took their overcoming with no great humility, their modum operandi is to make sure that your voice never reach the people because it means that they're losing ground. I've gone to communities to work, Tall Meadows, some of the roughest community, John, only for years the MP say, him hears me and tell the people them certain things and him not like that. I remember once talking at a function with Peter Phillips, and I made a statement, and the chair for the function came and said, Mr. Phillips is asking me to desist from saying certain things. So it's never really to encourage the people. It's always to keep them uninformed and unaware, and so they become a silent voice in their democracy. Because if it's not Mr. So and so said, and this is why it is critical that a Jamaican by birth, now living abroad, is bringing a matter before the court against a minister of government, something that maybe in my lifetime I never thought it would have been possible. And it sets a precedence. It sets a real precedence. And so it gives more people the credence to know, say, okay, we do have a voice and you're hearing it. So, John, you are among the VIP group of freedom fighters for the heart and the soul of Jamaica. And my brother, nothing is ever going to come easy when you're trying to establish a righteous principle, because righteous principle makes everybody rich, but the one that holds right now, it is the greedy and the unrighteous that are in power. And in the book of Proverbs, I can't remember the verse now, it says that when the wicked rule, the people suffer, but when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. And so as much as they will use their intimidatory method of silencing some of us, I live in Jamaica and I'm not afraid to come on here and say, look, the governments and the people of Jamaica have acted corruptly. Hence, our development have been shortchanged by the action of a few that have influenced the majority. But I tell you what, John, when I walk the streets now and I hear people saying, I can't wait for Jeffrey come on, I can't wait for Wilfred Rattigan for come on, I can't wait for hear when lonesome officer, I can't wait for hear when Isaacs and Andre is going to speak, because I chew them attack, I chew the people them attack, I this them I do for years. People are slowly waking up and they are challenging the government, and it's a good time and it's a good place when from the intervention of a few, And this is why I said to Jeffrey and Herb and Rattigan, Lonesome, Andre, I might not agree with all the views, but let every view contend, and that's the part of it that we have to be mindful of. Different folks see it differently, but the awakening have started, John. So don't afraid that you might be doing it. What I would love to encourage you to do is to start with a small advocacy group in Freetown of the most influential leader. Get them to understand the messaging. And then once they start to understand the message, like when I used to go to school and the men would gather in St. William's Grand Park, one man could read and the man would read the paper and everybody would get to critique what they think it's saying. And so different views were contending. We need to have a big advocate group going around Jamaica, and I've said it on Jeffrey. We need somebody to keep an article in the paper because we have to look at the different structure of the society. We need somebody to develop some messages on the TikTok that are quick 5 seconds, 30-second messages, but gets to the heart of the issue. We need to use all of the available resources that are available to us that we don't have to pay millions of dollars for. And we never, ever should allow those who do not have Jamaica's best interest at heart to make us feel as if our efforts are not going to yield fruits. It might not be today, but I can guarantee you there's a righteous wind blowing to our back, my brother. Don't give up the fight.
Luke.
Okay, we'll have a chat later. You can get, I think you have my number anyway, don't you, Luke?
If I don't have it, one of the gentlemen, yes, Doc, I think somebody sent me a number.
Yeah, I think somebody.
Yeah.
I think somebody did.
Yeah, man. I think somebody sent me a number because I know I was hunting for you, and I got your number. But your heart is in the right place, and you have a good spirit, you. Don't give up the fight. We are gonna take it to them.
Wilfred Rattigan, let me ask you this question. As a Jamaican citizen, where Luke disappeared to now? As a Jamaican citizen, Wilfred Rattigan.
No, me have to come off camera because me have other people.
Okay. Let me ask you this question, Mr. Rattigan. Based on all that is going on under this administration, because it's one government at a time. A lot of people don't like when I talk, say, no better barrel, no better herring. But all of this has been coming up from way back when coming in. Jamaica's national debt that stand over $2 trillion didn't happen on the Labour Party government alone. It happened in previous government. Where do you see this country of ours? This morning a breaking news came in where the gang in Haiti, the leader of the gang in Haiti, is calling for an armed overthrow of the Haitian Prime Minister. All of that is going on in our sister country. Where do you see Jamaica going, Wilfred Rattigan? With all of this shebang of corruption and cronyism and arcanism, that is thing worse than Riverton down. Where do you see it going?
Yeah.
Well, mute your mic for me, Luke, please.
It's they have a phrase in America here. It's like going nowhere fast, and I think that's where we're going right now. I don't see a course correction. I don't see any empathy. I don't see any concern for the people. I see politicians concerned about themselves, their families, their pockets. And I say that in general because there are some good politicians there. I know a few, just a few of them. But it's not a good sight. I mean, what I'm seeing is doesn't bode well for Jamaica, and my heart grieves for the poor people. The poor people the poverty-stricken people, as well as the middle-class people. Grieve for them because I know what they're going through because they call me frequently. Some of them are my blood relatives. Some of them are my relatives by choice. We're very, very close. But all of them are my relatives by nationality. And so I care about every single one of them. And I wish the government would do a course correction and do what's right, do what's necessary to uplift the people and give them the promised prosperity. But to be frank with you, Jeffrey, I don't see it happening. And it's been 7 years going, and I don't see it happening. What I see a string of broken promises. That's what I see. I see a string of broken promises, and I see a whole heap of corruption.
Yes.
So that's a recipe for disaster. Broken promises and a whole heap of corruption. Nothing good can come out of that.
John, same question.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I agree with everything Will just said. You mentioned the debt. I talk about the debt a lot. And you mentioned $2 trillion. The debt isn't coming down. So when the IMF rolled up in here in 2013, the debt was $2 trillion. And I looked at the debt just the other day, and it stood at nearly 2.2 billion. But the thing is this, during the
2.2 billion or 2.2 trillion?
Trillion, sorry, 2.2 trillion. Jamaican dollars. Yeah, Jamaican dollars. So it's not gone down. And that's over nearly 11 years. Now, during the last budget debate in March, Nigel Clark made a statement about the debt to GDP ratio. And he said something along the line that the debt of last year, 2022, and the debt of this at the end of the financial year were the same. So over this 12-month period, from 1st of April 2022 to March 2023, he said the debt is in the same kind of ballpark. And he just thinks this is all right. People have to remember that Jamaica have been going under the severest austerity on the planet to repay debt. When he was talking, he's going to use 1/3 of the budget, 307.5 billion Jamaican dollars, just to service debt. So he's telling us that the debt was nearly the same, but at the same time, we spent 169 billion reducing the debt. That's how much we spent. 169 billion. That is what he budgeted just to reduce the debt. That's not interest, just to amortization, that was to take down the debt. But there he's telling us that the debt hardly came down. Now, when you look at the numbers, the debt actually came down by 36 billion. So now we're thinking, well, where's the 133 billion? That's over 850 million US dollars gone like a fart in the wind, just disappeared. And nobody's saying anything about it. So we're talking about this SSL and all these other problems, and yet in 1 year, they can't account for 850 million US. Now just think of what we could do with that kind of money. That's just 1 year I'm talking about, and yet this never gets any mention. So back in 2013, as I said, the debt was 2.2 trillion. $2 trillion. Now it's 2.2 trillion, and we spent in the region of $3 bloody trillion. My estimation is 22.8 billion US is what we spent over 10 years. And this is the Jamaica we see. We have no roads, we have no markets, we have nothing. It's a quagmire. And this is not being an issue. Now, I've raised this with MOCA and said, this is corrupt. You need to look at it, because we can't be paying out this kind of money year in, year out, and the debt isn't going down. Integrity Commission, I've reported it to them. The Auditor General, the Office of the Public Defender, and nobody's doing anything about it. So it's evident why I have no confidence in the country, because I've done the research, and I've done all of this, and I've reported it, and nothing's being done. And as I said, a bigger problem I have is that I talk about these things, and yet somehow lots of the bloggers find other things to talk about. I've just mentioned 850 million US unaccounted for. And this isn't news.
You know something?
Tell me.
And then apologize to no one, you know. Majority of the people on social media just here to make money, you know.
Apparently.
And if I'm wrong, I can't tell me I'm wrong. We're majority of us who are on here are not here to make money, you know. We're here to speak about the fundamental rights of the Jamaican people, of what is going on in the land of wood and water. In which modern democracy can you have a Speaker of the House of Representatives sitting there, termite it out for her brain by saying she never must have a car? Huh?
No, man, Jeffrey. No. No. Hold on. To be clear, she's not saying she didn't have a car. She's saying she forgot to report. She said it's an honest mistake. She said she forgot to report. She admit, if you go back, read the statement, she admit that she had the car, and she may have said words to the effect that, and people got that impression that she didn't know that she had a car. What she didn't know was the filing, not the car itself. Go back and read. Just go back and read her statement for me, please.
Oh Lord, hold on there.
Will, whether or not, when you're doing your statutory declaration, you know that you have to list your real assets and its value, and that is what you submit as a public servant to ensure that when you don't leave any leg room for people to criticize or having to come up with this. And I think that for her to say that it's I'm not going to say that we're not human, but she's a career politician. This is not the first time you're filing your declaration, your financial declaration, and that is a part of the public sector board and requirement. Notwithstanding, she made an error, but so often when the politicians of the land are asked for their tax return, like in the last debate, and John is saying it, that we don't have a focus as bloggers and sometimes as talk show. We're all over the place. We're not winning one issue so we can get to the next issue. For instance, when the Prime Minister was asked for his statutory deduction, up until one of the, I don't even know if it is filed by now, but the public accounts are saying, well, when I get it. How can you make laws that you break them? Right? And it speaks to whether or not if you have a constitution, what validity does that constitution have? If you have a pension act in there, if you have a retirement age act in there, which qualifies you for a pension, and once you reach that age, if you're not really willing to go into retirement, how does it affect when your pension kicks in? And if that is the situation, that you have a certain level of expertise that is beneficial, why don't you just then say, as a nexus to your contract, while you are retiring, we will retain you as a consultant because you may have special skills that we want you to pass down, but it takes away from holding up the position to go to the next person. Oftentimes we are structuring the law and the different acts that governs particular issues as it relates to public sector worker, as it relates to other aspects of how government function. We're making too much adjustment so that it satisfies them and not us, because John is right. Jamaicans don't understand that if Paula Llewellyn continues in this, what is it going to take a Jeremy Taylor, a Lisa, Palmer, when they reached the retirement age, said, if it was extended for Paula, why can't it be extended for us? And what does that will mean? It means that if you don't move people out of the position, you create a bottleneck because there is no matriculation of the people who must continue the work of the department. And the question becomes, what has been Paula's Llewellyn major achievement in law? When a young man who is charged for murder is in lockup for 4 months, there might be footage out there that says he could not have been the one who pulled the trigger. And we hear that the courts no longer have a backup, that them don't have a backup. Judges got an increase before the politician. They tested with the judges, and so the judges got an increase in the dead of night. And nobody questioned, how is it that we're paying judges when Jamaica seems to have a major backup in its court? What are those judges doing to make sure that those things move out faster? And that is why you see Jamaicans are frustrated with the justice system and oftentimes go look for other means to settle their matter, because them say, boy, a foolishness to go through the court. It takes too long. The court doesn't necessarily deliver swift and effective justice. So a lot is there to be desired. And the fact is, Will Rattigan, you have expertise in security. John is sitting here who has expertise in finance. Jeffrey and I have developed skills in other areas. But where is the forum in government that takes in all of our expertise that don't require that you're paying us millions of dollars? Because if you, Will Rattigan, if you, John, if you, Jeffrey Tavares, sit down and says, let us look at the expertise that you can bring to the table. And if you're giving this service to Jamaica for free, put a dollar figure to it and see how much you would save the government.
From asking those questions, and we.
Major Anderson was still advisor to the Prime Minister, holding the office of Commissioner of Police. So all you see, why so much millennium youngsters don't trust government? Why you need two positions but you can't succeed at one? So how you effective at the other? Because if you get advice on crime so high, how is it that you're effective, and why we can't move you out?
I want you all to listen to something on CVM by opposition spokesperson on transport and also the VP for the People's National Party, the goodly gentleman from Manchester, Michael Phillips, about why the walkout of the House of Representatives yesterday. Why the walkout of Miss Dalrymple Philibert House that she built on Bute Street. She built the house down here in Wilfred Rattigan. It's her house. So she tell me if I come out of the house. Hope you all can listen to hear this.
Joined by the opposition MP, Michael Phillips. Now, this discussion comes following the opposition's decision to walk out of Gordon House today. Good evening, sir. Thanks for joining us. Why did you walk out?
Well, we had issues in how the matter of the integrity report that was tabled today and how it is that the Speaker dealt with that report. The leader of opposition rose in Parliament to express some concerns, ask some questions, and was prevented from asking those questions. And we felt that how it was dealt was not in good practice and good governance. And we thought that the Speaker herself should have recuse herself from tabling the report, have her deputy table the report. We thought that she was trying to, in this instance, was being judge and jury on a report that involves her in recommending to which committees that they should go to. She is the chairman of the ethics committee before she had said that she was recusing herself from chairing that committee. That was one of the questions that the leader of opposition wanted to ask of her. And also, we didn't think that the recommending it also to the oversight committee of the Integrity Commission oversight, that was the remit of the Integrity Oversight Committee. And we, at the time when they tabled it, we had no access to that report itself. And there was a corresponding letter that would come with that report in what the recommendations would have been, which was not read to us or any indication of what the recommendations were, which was also a question that the leader of opposition wanted to find out.
Are you saying the reason she gave, was that accurate though?
Reason?
For the reason for the decision?
For why she didn't want him to speak. In a matter like this, I would expect, seeing that it involved the speaker herself, that she would have at least wanted to, it wasn't a debate that the leader of opposition wanted to be engaged in. He wanted to ask a question on the statement that she read out, in where it is that she was recommending that the report be sent to. And if it is that, as we know now, that the Director of Corruption Investigation, Prosecution in the Integrity Commission recommending that she be charged, that was also what we wanted to find out, because as I said, we had no access, the Parliament itself had no access to that corresponding letter. So in hindsight, we thought that we would not want to be a part of this, because I think we have to at some point protect Parliament, the integrity of the Parliament. We were not at no point casting guilt on the speaker herself, but since that it involved her, that it be dealt with in a different manner.
Having walked now, then what next for you? What is it that you want?
Well, as an opposition, we have to discuss that. But I know that the leader will be speaking to the Prime Minister on the way forward. We think that both sides of the House has to protect the integrity of the Parliament.
Is resignation an option on your?
On our side, well, we were elected to go to Parliament to defend the rights of those who elected us.
Do you want her to resign? Are you calling?
Our recommendation is that she step back until the matter has been ventilated totally. And that she's charged and it goes to court, then the court deals with it. But until the matter is ventilated, then there's a deputy speaker that should be elevated for the time being until the matter with the Speaker of the House be ventilated in the relation with the Integrity Commission.
Let's say you come forward and you ask for this resignation. What if she doesn't?
Well, it's not a matter that she resigns. We can't say that she resigns from Parliament. What we're asking is that she step back as speakers until the matter, because you cannot have the Speaker of the House who is involved in an Integrity Commission investigation, a recommendation for prosecution, and she is the same person who is now seeing the running of the highest court in the land, the Parliament, and she is.
What is wrong with these people, highest court of the land, Mr. Philip?
No, man. She has bewitched them. They have not separated it as three different branches of government. But what is new, Jeffrey Tavares? What is new? Them wrong and strong. JLP wrong and strong. And this is the double standard why young people down here listen to Valiant and I say I'm mad, because everybody knows that when an investigation that involves you, and if you hold the chair or you are even the committee, you recuse yourself from it so that you don't seem to be influencing the course of justice to take due process. This is why you see a gag order, because the Prime Minister of Jamaica name could very well be under investigation by the Integrity Commission. And similar like how them abandoned the political ombudsman office in the dead of night, I'm sure they are using their legal experts to try to disband and discredit the Integrity Commission. But here's what is true. Everybody should be able to go register their conscience vote on whether or not, but the country is so polarized by PNP and JLP. If you stand up and say Ms. Dalrymple should know better as a lawyer and as a senior elder lady, and should really be bowing out of the politics, holding the ice and have people respect for her. She has demonstrated her ineffectiveness and her childish disposition in this position that has left everybody jaw drop. When you used to hear about Phil Burton, Dalberton, and you hear how them say she turn up at every night, every christening, every Sunday worship, every Saturday worship in our parish, you got a sense that this was a woman who really felt the pulse of the people and really loved the people. But you see what happened when she gets drunk with power. She treats Mark Golan like he's hired for a yard boy and she can't call him and disrespect him. And it is allowed by the Prime Minister of the day, who now is going around and talk about people are not allowed to speak about him or tarnish his character because the JLP has done more for this country in 7 years than any other successful party.
Then hold on there, Luke. If the Prime Minister of Jamaica don't want the Jamaican people to criticize him or speak about him, then don't enter public life, Prime Minister. Don't be a part of the public.
But Jeffrey, it gets worse that Michael Phillips is saying there is a deputy speaker. You know who is the deputy speaker?
The wife of the Prime Minister.
And when she is up there, my God, she makes the position looks as if it is a SSR Hitler. She's even worse than Dalrymple. There is no finesse, there is no decorum, there is no decency that is added to the parliament. This is why we as young people don't have any respect and any regards for this, because we see it as an outdated institution that has really allowed despots to come and has now put foul odor in the air of public life. And there seems to be no getting away from it. There seems to be no getting away from it because I don't know, these people might have paid a senior Lawrence man to hold those seats for years, but they don't go away for anything that they do.
Luke, and that is why they're calling Wilfred Rattigan to become Prime Minister. Don't you see what they have in Spanish Town the other day? That they have a big 9-night in a Spanish when the Labour Party, a big 9-night. Who dead?
Well, maybe they realize that they are malignant cancer on the society, and so they are planning their state funeral, and that was just part of it, because that's what they are. Them can call for Wilfred Rattigan, but we have to go deal with, and also Wilfred Rattigan can't come down and come be no sacrificial lamb for nobody. Every time Jamaica is in a problem, is one man. Will is one man. He needs the rest of us to step up to the plate, and that is stop turning the country in orange and green, and we become Jamaican, and we have a reasoning as Jamaican in that regard. Babsy Grange is talking about Big Stone going up there and Mark Golding take off the chain, when in our party them are call the man Master Mark, and nobody must apologize. But Philip Paulwell, child's mother and baby, has disappeared, and as the Minister of Gender, she has not come out and openly condemned the disappearance of Philip Paulwell, with so many other Jamaican, like the student, the impure student at UWI, that we still questioning who killed Ananda Dean and so many other murders. But yet still we see a Prime Minister jump into the international politics by sending troops into Haiti, to our sister country, than trying to reach out to the different fractions using the CARICOM communities and trying to reason with our sister country that has suffered as the first country in the English-speaking Caribbean to have won their freedom. We can solve international crisis, but we can't find we can't find when one person missing. Yet still, when Pernell's child, when Bruce Golden's daughter was robbed, within 24 hours she got back everything that she was robbed.
Because that is to show you that there's two Jamaica that Dayton Campbell spoke about. There's two Jamaica, one for the Vumva on the Vumva V.
But you know the sad part
and those who go around and yam, and one for those who eat chicken back and tin mackerel.
But chicken back and tin mackerel is now a delicacy in Jamaica.
I love eating that, you know.
Yeah, it's now a delicacy because it has been far removed from the poor. But again, as I said, I think John said it. If we can come up with a messaging strategy, and this is why I have suggested on your show, and I don't get invited to Will Rattigan show anymore.
Neither do I.
Because we are not a part of the Boomba right? But but the truth of the matter is that my position is that we must develop a spokesperson on all of the speaking points. John is effectively able to speak on finance and looking at renewable energy and technology. That's one person there. Wilfred Rattigan on national security, negotiating with our international partner. Jeffrey can speak on PR and rebranding Jamaica. Luke George can speak on community and people's development. We need somebody on health. We need somebody on education. We need to come up with a policy that demonstrates that the government is undermining the development of the Jamaican people, because we must show what can happen in this space, and we must challenge them. So when them get on the national debate, we must be there as the Jamaica People's Movement for redevelopment of the entire country. We don't have any alliance to any political party, not like members of the diaspora who feel that them still carry them lineage of JLP, because when they cut them are get green and orange. We must encourage in this dispensation the coming together. We're too bright to have these intelligent discourse that does not amount to anything, because we don't have a policy, we don't have a strategy. Yes. What is it that we're going to give to the Jamaican people as a blueprint? What did Lee Kuan Yew see? What happened in the DeCosta report? And I'm glad that we have the very articulate and erudite list of panelists on here, and others in the diaspora in your chat room who, yes, God is going to hold us accountable when we go to the pearly gates of heaven for the fact that we talked but we were inactive in how we have to do it. So we have the legal fund set up. We're going to set up the health fund. We're going to set up the education fund. And we are going to refund a lot of things, and we are going to take it to the grassroots people. Yes. We're going to use every media available to us to get our messaging out there till everybody is on one page. Yes. Jamaican poor people are Jamaican people from every strata matters.
Yes, and we must say good night to Mr. Herb Nelson Jr., who is watching us and asking if Wilfred Rattigan is sleeping. Anyway, Herb didn't ask the question, I'm asking the question. John, your views on what Luke just said?
I think they're excellent. 100%. Yeah, well, very well said, Luke. I'm totally behind that. We need to have people out there talking about the specific issues. We need individuals talking just like you. I don't have to add anything more to what Luke said. He said it wonderfully well.
Yes. Mr. Rattigan, I know you're there speaking to the future Deputy Minister of Defense. But let me ask you this question, Mr. Rattigan. You're a security expert. in all that is going on with SSL, with Dam Rimple, why are you laughing, Wilfred Rattigan?
No,
Why are you laughing?
go ahead.
Will, what is
Man, this
why
is
you laughing, man?
no, man.
Jeffrey, the speaker just texted him and said, I'm giving you the Benz. Zimmer, who got the key to me with that Wilfred Rattigan, don't say one thing more about me. I'll give
No, hey, Jeffrey, you know what? And look, George and John. Somebody just send me, dear friend of mine, just send me a little note here. And I didn't think about it, but it makes sense. She said, look, isn't there something funny about you getting a loan in Jamaica to purchase a car overseas? I don't know how that works. Maybe Luke George can shed some light on that. How you get a loan in Jamaica to go purchase a car overseas? How does that work?
It's not entirely impossible, because the truth of the matter is just that you have to provide the purchase invoice, and you say who your source is once it is credible. Because remember, I know the man we are lending the money in a rat, he's not interested where you get it from. I'm interested in the interest rate. So once you are in public sector and you provide the purchase invoice, you work out the rate of exchange for importing the car, and for clarity, you submit your salary, the salary scale that you're at.
Yeah, but
the salary scale.
Yeah. George, let me interrupt you for a second. The direction the question is taking us into is that how do you get a bank to give you a loan to purchase a car overseas that's going to be, the title is going to be in somebody's name?
Well, I can only give you from what I understand in the procurement guideline, that once you have put in the purchase and you can pay the vendor and it comes in, it's yours. But it's an interesting question that I would have to go back to one of those in-house procurement guideline individual to say, in truth and in fact, I've never seen a justification of how do you do that, because the vehicle is really owned by the vendor until money is exchanged. But as I said, it's not something that is unusual, especially if you think that this is going to be an effective vehicle for what you have to do. But yeah, it raises a cute concern if you skew it that way. And I have to get an internal auditor and an internal procurement officer to give that answer.
Yeah, because they say that's one of the main problems, but it is that the title is in her name. She says it's her car, but the loan is in somebody else's name. The down payment was made by somebody else.
So what happened is that, all right, suppose I ask you, Will Rattigan, to buy me a car in the United States. But when it comes into Jamaica for you to get the concession, the person then writes a transfer of deed of the car to you. And then, because it might not really be hers, but because if she didn't use the concession.
But when I look, George, it's hers. And Jeffrey can go back and read the statement. She said that she forgot to declare it.
Right. I'm looking for it, but it does not.
Okay. How do you forget to declare it if this is something that you're driving every day? And you have to present real and you have to present all the aspects.
Hold on there, Luke. is not something she drive every day. Because she have multiple Benz and Beamers and Ferraris, you know.
Well, me not begrudge her for her richness. Just get that straight. But what I'm saying then, Jeffrey, you must know the amount of vehicle that you own. If you own 10 vehicles, it's not something that you forget. Or we need to go do an assessment of the speaker capability because she might be showing early signs of Alzheimer.
Yes,
but as Willie saying, as Willie saying, how then do you do this if the deposit, and this is one of the things that, again, I am going to not speak as if I know everything. I would like to ask an internal auditor, and I would like to ask under the procurement guideline, if something is bought in John's name and it becomes mine, and I take out a loan to purchase it, but the deposit came from X, how do you rationalize the purchase? So at the end of...
Hold on. She said that she got a loan from Sagicor Bank for $5.8 million. The loan for the car is $6 million. She got a loan from Sagicor for 5.8. And her sister husband put up 200,000.
But she didn't get the loan.
The question must be asked Wilfred Rattigan and John and Luke George Cooke. Who for salary the money come out of, a bank account the money come out of? Who paid the loan?
But she didn't take the loan, remember?
That she have an amnesia or terminal each of her brain, she don't remember.
But she didn't take the loan, Jeffrey. The 5.8 million, didn't we say that came from somebody else? Not a brother-in-law, but I can't remember who. Well, not her.
It came from Sagicor Bank.
Yeah, but who took out the loan? It wasn't her who took out the loan.
Let me see if I can find out this thing here.
Yeah, I'm sure he said it was a brother-in-law, somebody else. It wasn't her who took out the loan.
Will, who took out the loan?
Jeffrey, can you... Yeah, Jeffrey paid it before. I'm sure he didn't say that she took out the loan.
See if I can find it back. Well, we'll gone?
It looks like it's cut off.
Oh, hold on.
Who took out the loan, Jeffrey? Because let's deal with the fact. If she don't take out the loan, the car can't be hers. Did she bring it in on the concessionaire? So the car, or would you get the concession?
The title is in her name.
Or her husband. Somebody say her husband. I just got the chat because remember the chat people, them full of information, you know. Her sister and her husband took out the loan, and Miss Dalrymple was the guarantor.
No,
so
hold on there. Hold on. If she's a guarantor, there is no way her name is gonna be on the title.
Yeah, I agree.
No, hold on. How long ago that vehicle buy?
It was from 2015.
All right, but hold on. If it was bought in 2015, Jeffrey, we are now at 2023, and she could have probably just basically then asked them to transfer the title to her, because she is entitled to certain upkeep and concession.
Yes,
so
but the car was sold.
But Jeffrey, this all becomes I don't see the statement, so let us look at the statement. But this all becomes this is all becoming jumbled. But notwithstanding, you can't forget that you have that car that is now in your name, that has a value, and that you must declare it as a public sector worker. And you, being at the head of government, the policy makers, and the driver of policy, you cannot forget that. That's like Mr. Siaga borrowing the money and saying, I forgot. And how many times in our public lives are politicians going to use that one line? They forgot that they had this they forgot that they had this going.
But Luke, for far too long, and John, it seems like Camilla Johnson Smith lick off Wilfred Rattigan. Luke, continue calling. See Wilfred come here. Yes, Mr. Rattigan.
No. You understand, John, what I'm saying? First, before we have to unsolve the jigsaw puzzle, right? Ratty, if the car, who for name the car by now?
Her name.
Vice God.
I'm sorry about that. Her name.
Will, do you remember who took out the loan? She didn't take out the loan, did she? That's what we said at the beginning.
All I know, the car is in Miss Luke, Ratty. You hearing us?
Yeah, pull up a statement of Jeffrey. You'd read it.
I'm trying to find it back. It was on Nationwide thing. I'm trying to find it back.
Will, at the purchase point, was she the purchaser?
From our understanding, yes. Because she got a concession as well. She can't get a concession if she's not buying the car.
All right. And that car that was bought, she purchased that in 2015 in her name. She got the concession because she's entitled to the concession. Mm. And at what point was the car sold?
We don't know.
Last year.
Oh, last year, okay.
So, Will, Sagicor will give her the money. Because she, remember, say she a big thing in Jamaica. And I like me, you know, well, them now going to give me $5 million for buy no car from for it. But as I said, under the procurement guidelines, she could not have secured the concession if it was not purchased in her name. And hence, it is hard for her to forget because that in and of itself, it has to match back when the Auditor General check what concession you get and for what vehicle you get it for. That has to go in the model number and title, color of the vehicle, etc., etc. Let's forget, everybody have played that one line, Will Rattigan. When Mr. Siaga borrowed the whole money and said, forget, everybody forget when them for file them tax return and they should be fine.
The only difference though is that Integrity Commission wasn't around when Mr. Siaga forget.
There should be a fine for parliamentarian who fails to declare things that they know are in their name. And I am agreeing with the statement that Ms. Dalrymple's name, Will Rattigan, is called in land matter, and it is in other matters that there are questions about it. She should recuse herself from the parliament because she's sending a very strong message. She's sending a very
message. Here's a problem for her. The problem for her, well, one of the problems for her, because she has a whole heap of problems. One of the problems for her is that a few years ago, the Prime Minister went to Doug Christie, the chairman of the Commission, and he asked for training, specific training having to do with integrity and ethics and all of these things we're talking about now. They received that training. They know everything about financial disclosures that there is to know because they received the training. They didn't sign the code of conduct. They haven't signed it yet. But it doesn't matter because they received the training. And the Prime Minister himself came out and said he's asked for the training. And I think he said that they received the training already. No, that training had to do with statutory declaration. So she knew that she had to file this thing. The car was in her name, no question about it. And then in her statement, most recent statement, she said that I forgot to put it in the statutory declaration. So that's an admission that she owned the car, she knew she had to make the filing, but she forgot. And the reason why she said she forgot is because I think it's section 34 of the statute that says that you have to prove that the person knowingly did it. So her defense is going to be, I didn't know. Well, that's nonsense because if she used to get she got the concession and if she used to get the monthly upkeep for the car from the government, then of course you know you have to do it. And so I'm sure, look, here's the thing. This prosecutor for the Integrity Commission, she refused to prosecute the Prime Minister because she said there wasn't enough evidence there. She refused to prosecute the people associated with that event because she said even though there was enough evidence, there was an abuse of process issue. Now she's saying, I want to prosecute the speaker. So what we should do is let her prosecute the speaker. We have to, if she wouldn't prosecute a case because of an abuse of process, then what that says is that she's crossing her T's and dotting the I's. So let's see the evidence. Let her put her case on.
All right.
Forget about what this. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Yes, what we was talking about the act. Members of Parliament are required to declare their assets, gift, and income under Section 43 of the Integrity Commission Act and Section 15 of the Parliament Integrity of Members Act.
Look here, Jeffrey, let me tell you something, and just get it into your head. These people don't read the act. They don't read the act. They don't apply the rules. Don't apply to them. They are gods. Zeus came down and slept with their mothers and fathers, and I'm saying that without apology. They don't adhere to the rules, and that is why you see they should move the statute from Parliament that people can't say anything in a Parliament and don't become liable and go to jail, you know. Because look here, this is not something that them do every 10 years, you know. It is required per annum for you to file these things, and you must know what your real assets are. Because let me tell you something, Jeffrey. If I was the prosecutor, I would ask her a copy of her will. Because she must will out something, but it's sell already, so that not sell. But she must have these things that if in the event of death, she has to distribute them wisely. And that would just go to show how unfair these people are in carrying out their duties to the Jamaican people to ensure that open transparency and their integrity are in touch. The speaker, let the prosecution, as we'll say, prosecute her. The prosecution might have been afraid to go up against Andrew Wallace. And on that note, I would like to big up Greg Christie. Greg Christie took some hard lick when he was Contractor General, and I'm happy to see him wheel and come again. I think that we need to beef up some support behind Greg Christie, because he's one of the very few people who will hold the wrong and strong people to account. And so I would love for the prosecution to now prosecute. I tell you that Will Rattigan threw a stone into the pond, and it is having a ripple effect. I would like this prosecution to really beef up the investigation. Prosecute the speaker. Hold and let this be the example by which everybody else will have to fall in line. Too much, when is it going to be too much for these people to continue to behave as if they're God Almighty to this country and they get away with everything? And this is why you see a lot of our young people and our citizens do not respect the Jamaican law. They watch these politicians and leaders break them every day, and so they are now at a point where they absolutely don't care because they don't see it work. You see the video going out without the soldier beat the citizen down in West Kingston with the gun like these people are trained to have restraint. It's just too much. It is just too much that we behave this way. We must constrain ourselves if this country going to grow. And I'm so glad that I'm on the side of the champions that are pushing for a change in Jamaica. And with that, Will Rattigan, we need a group of lawyers who are trained in constitution and can speak on the fundamentals of the act as they are in the constitution in the various sections. And we must start bringing more matters before the court to prosecute corrupt leadership at every level until them realize that enough is enough and we're not sit down and take no more.
I am trying to find the audio and the thing about Dalrymple. And the,
Jeffrey, to tell you the truth, you give that woman here too much time. We want the prosecutor for prosecutor. At times, we see some politician who got jail. That is what we need to see.
Look, based on what Wilfred Rattigan just said to us, you know, about the DPP. In Wilfred Rattigan?
Yeah.
About the DPP.
Yeah.
The whole thing with Dalrymple can go in front of the DPP, and she said there's nothing wrong. And Dalrymple's gone scotch-free.
No, she needs to, no, the DPP will have to recuse herself from anything to do with government. If government is willing to bend the law to keep you in that role, because you are the only person who went to Norman Manley Law School and was vested with the knowledge and the infinite wisdom that them can't say goodbye, baby, after them can't show us what you have done significant to that office. She will have to recuse herself because she's compromised. Nothing that the DPP says anymore is of value to the Jamaican people. It is only to those who she served. And I think that that woman comes from such a decent family that she should know that the Jamaican people have no confidence in her office anymore. She should recuse herself from anything the Jamaica Labour Party asked her to execute. There are people in her office that are waiting in with Lisa Palmer, Jeremy Taylor, that are waiting, that have shown that them have the mettle and the oomph, and she needs to go off in the night. She should go gently into the night. So if the government place it before her, it is because all of them are in a collusion. And that is where this country is going. One set of mongrel dogs taking us to hell, and we're all going gladly.
Mr. Rattigan.
But that's the reality. That's the reality, unfortunately. So the DPP is not going to do anything, is she? She will. At that time, she will just say, I'm not going to prosecute. That's what will happen. She's not going to prosecute the 6 people, and she's not going to prosecute Dalrymple. Unfortunately.
No, but look, hey, John, you know what is cruel? CTOC knows that there are 6 politicians. Fraud Squad knows that there are 6 politicians under scrutiny. The Jamaican people must not know who their gods are, who does these things, but you can prosecute a man who picks Aki on Crown land to make a living for himself. Even the Bible said it. If a man steals because he's hungry and you can prove it, then he is to be given mercy. Those who lead us very well knowing that the laws are there for the few and for the many, but not for the few privileged. Why would you have an attorney general put herself out there and says, look, we're putting a gag order on an institution that is constituted in Jamaica, and you don't have enough lawyers in this country with the backbone, spineless jellyfish, because if you are not paying them millions of dollars, then they don't stand up for anything. We have too many greedy people in Jamaica. The few greedy are killing the rest of us, John. They are like Amazon killing out the life of the plants that need it for air. And that's just the truth. These people are corrupt. Young people don't believe them. Young people, the future of this country do not believe in Andrew Hollis, do not believe in Mark Goley, do not believe in the DPP, do not believe in the leadership of the church. And yet still these people are telling you, oh, they are the best hope. I hope that the Jamaican people get up, because they're like victims in domestic violence. They get beaten left, right, and center. They're so beaten down. And what we need to give them, Rattigan, is a little, where you say that we need to give them some awakening juice. We need to create a juice called the awakening juice that will give them some spine, because we have become a spineless jellyfish. This is the country of GOV. the man who fought for the freedom of the whole world. This is the country of Sam, Paul, William Gardner, and Nanya the Maroon. And we have become like wag dogs with our leg, taking licks from these people who, when them leave us, they are far better than us. We have deplorable hospital, deplorable education system, deplorable economy, deplorable utility services. And all we sit down and do is wait for 5 years to get our $5,000 to go vote for Potiphar's wife to be returned to the house so she can send more people to prison for things that they didn't do.
Well, as I said, Luke, we have to go and spread the word. All that you've just said has to reach the people. Real well. I won't say it's as simple as that, but that needs to be done. The people are ignorant. As you said, they're very ignorant. And
but,
we need
but John, you know that it's deliberate. It is deliberate. Just look, John, on the education system in Jamaica. How is it that you send a child, John, from basic school and send him to high school knowing that him can't read and write? So ultimately, what is the outlook for him or her? Well, every 5 years, that will vote you in because they will believe. When we hear people talk about, boy, the Orange Wave Sunday, you can feel the groundswell of PMP and the Labour right them come out and talk about, yes, our leader has really brought Jamaica such a far way. Him couldn't do it in 7 years. But give him another term and Jamaica is going to get better. Do you still believe that lie, Jamaican people? Do you still believe that lie? And here's what is sad about it, John. It is their children that are being gunned down in the street. When the Tivoli incursion happened, John, do you realize that young men left their communities, both rural and urban, and said that they were going to die for Dudus? The country is so deprived of real leadership that Dudus is seen as the paragon of virtue among them. The Vibe Cartel had almost 1 million young people in the streets of Jamaica that was ready to burn this country to the ground because Vibes Cartel was speaking their language, John. And yet still, the social science major at the University of the West Indies never said, hold on, like the gas riot. They will topple us. We will never be able to fight them. And then Rocky Mead says, oh, Andrew, you know what is the best thing to do? Let us make this into a police and military state. Let us get more people so we can match them. But little did they know, the guns that are brought in from Haiti and other places, them don't have them guns that to match them boys. And people, John, who are willing to die for nothing at all, who tell you say them born dunce and they are part of the dunce movement, they will fight and they will fight you. So turmoil is knocking on our doors and we are going to give them 5 more years. Instead of we call for coalition government since no third party is rising up. Coalition government, and in 5 years, if we can't come to us, and we the people must be blamed because we do not have a position. We come on this, and as you said, tomorrow, them choose the sexier topic. We don't continue to push, and this is why we need to push our policy and program from the People's Movement of Jamaica, asking the government to implement these things in the best interest of Jamaica. Sorry that I talk so much. When I was a child, nobody used to listen to me.
Well, our people are listening to you now because you talked a lot of sense there, Will. Not Will, sorry, Lou. I agree with you. And a lot of the comments I can see people agree with you. But we need, as I said, we need to all sing from the same hymn book now to get the people on our side.
What on earth I wrote in the chat room a while ago? Where are my glasses? Will?
Yes,
John,
sir.
continue talking.
So what?
I think, no, I made a mistake. No, go ahead. Continue talking. I'm just going to correct something here.
No, and the only thing I have to say is that we should just allow the corruption prosecutor to move forward. But you see, there's a stalling tactic being employed by the speaker where she's saying she's going to refer the matter to some committees. There's no need for referral. So this should just move straight to court. And then we'll deal with it there. And so the DPP should stay out of this. The corruption prosecutor should be allowed to move forward with her case and let justice prevail. And if she's found guilty, then I say the judge should throw the book at her. 2 years in prison at hard labor. That's what we should ask for as a society.
But you know, Will Rattigan, my brother, I'm afraid that she near with so much of them judge here. Is there any judge in Jamaica who still will put the law over the rubbing of shoulder with these politicians? And secondly, we need 15,000 people to say we need full disclosure of the 6 MPs that are on the radar names to be called. We need them to take a leave of absence from the parliament. And we also are moving in that same resolution that the Speaker of the House recused herself, and she's not given the right to make the assignment as to which committee will hear this. Because here's what is true. When you look at the politicians in the House and the GLP big majority versus and I wish the PMP for once would get some spine and stop this walking out. Challenge her using the House rule on the floor and call her out and then put it out there in your statement as to why you challenge her. Mark Golding cannot continue to say that he's the opposition leader if he wants to be Mr. Nice Guy. Sometimes you just have to go meet Goliath out there and fight like hell. Time come for him get some spine. That's where the timeline come for him to get some spine, because look, you walk out and people just say, why him not look so strong enough? But the truth of the matter, you're walking out on a fundamental issue of this lady continuing to abuse her office, blatantly abusing her office. And here's what is sad about that, Will Rattigan. Have you ever been to a police station and hear when a citizen is addressing a police, and only we will not have strength for, because when they don't have parliament, nobody now holding accountable for the wickedness them on do to people. That's what people are saying. They are looking at these parliamentarians and saying, my God, if this is the best of us, then my God, I don't want to see the worst. And that is what young people in Jamaica have to deal with, the double standard. Today I was talking to a lady who we were talking about mentoring parents who go into classroom and mentor children while they're in school, talk to them about their experience. And she was sharing with me that she had to hold a young man the other day who was all up in his mother's face as she was correcting him, and how him looked like he would hold back to give her a lick. And this level of anger is coming from what people are seeing, that they are them talking but nobody listening, and so they have to retaliate to go lick or to kill or to damage somebody for people to understand them. And it all starts with us talking about leadership. And we cannot get the leadership in Jamaica that is accountable to the people. We cannot get the leadership that is responsive to Will Rattigan when he writes to ask about grains, or when John comes and says, let us look at renewable energy in a real way. These despots talk about corrupt debt. The debt is corrupt. And yet still they took 200 to 300% increase in corrupt debt, just to show you how they're feeding us a healthy diet of lies while they enrich themselves and laugh at us. Because hear them now, oh, Will Rattigan them just know for run up them mouth. But well, I'm happy when I see affirmative action, a lawsuit. I hope that the prosecutor knows that our prayers are going out with her, and we will stand against the wall of Jericho, and we will continue to say the wall must come down, because Jamaica deserves better than this. Jamaica is a country that God has a love for like no other, and we deserve righteous leaders, and these despots must go. They must know that we are not going gently into the night, Will Rattigan and John and Jeffrey. We are going to fight with every last ounce of our flesh and blood until Jamaica is returned to the hands of a righteous leader that is going to take the people in the right direction.
Well, that can only happen, Luke, if we have a real constitution. We're not going to get we're not going to move forward without a real constitution. We can't do anything without a real constitution. We can't lock up any of the politicians without a real constitution.
Agreed, and that is why we should be the writers, not a member of 21 called by the people who have always abused the laws, John. It should have been consulted with every well-thinking Jamaican. Well, you can't get the 4.8 million. I mean, I don't know if a 4 point, because here's what is also true, John. I don't know if you are here, but if you say any census taker, I call Staten and tell them that no census taker come at my yard. I'm going to understand how them are going to plan with me in mind if no census taker come. And the lady had to say to me, sir, are you always at home? So I said, that is rubbish. You come to my house. If I'm not there, there are other people there who can give you the information and the impertinent information that you need from me to plan for me. You can ask any member of the household to call me, and I can answer the question there and then. I said it's not like when we never had telephone and we had to wait until the telegram come 6 weeks from England for us to know what is happening. There are other methods. If you can't get me, you try to ascertain my email address. Mr. Cooke, can you answer these questions on your own, or can you schedule a time? I have not seen a census taker, and when I check in my area for these people who take census, the people complain that $1 billion was allotted for census. They have not been paid. They have the tablets, who for tablet not broke, because them children knock it off the table. This is resources that the country has paid for, that we are going to lose when the start of the new school year says that there are kids who need tablets, that these tablets could have been passed on to them once we wipe them of critical and important information. And the census takers have not handed them in because they're holding them in lieu of payment. Where did the $1 billion go? And it is the same Staten that is putting out that Jamaica is 95% employed. And we know that to be untrue, John. How can people go to university, study to become liars? Who pays you to be a liar?
The Jamaican people. The Jamaican people. You know something before we go any further? I must say this, that the Make We Talk program wish Andre Stevenson all the best. I've just seen it come to my phone that he is in an institution getting treatment. And on the behalf of my program, and I'm sure I speak on the behalf of everyone here on Wilfred Rattigan program, we wish Andre Stevenson all the best. And I hope he gets through, and I hope he gets all the treatment he's supposed to get, and come back here and continue speaking for the rights of the Jamaican people.
Will Rattigan can get somebody for protect him in the institution, because it's easier to say that he's mad, so that's why he died while receiving treatment.
No, he sounded fine. He called me this evening. We had a conversation. So
I asked him to get a list and description of people who are coming in and out. But I really hope that he gets the treatment that he needs. Jeffrey, I think that before he comes back on air, he should be extracted and given a little time where somebody really help him to manage the illness in a real way, because I think that the fact that he's on radio and he's so passionate about the things that he speaks about with his condition, he can go into an episode at any time. He needs to really get help, but I don't know if he's really getting the help here or he's going to trust them to. And I don't know who are his caregivers, but I would strongly suggest that they ask him to take a sabbatical. But everybody should still try to reach out to him through prayers. Before we go off here, we can probably ask his good friend, Mr. Rattigan, to say a prayer on his behalf. But I'm thankful to know that him talk to Will. At least me knows that at least him will get some, some solace that he knows that we out here in Raiderland care deeply about him.
Yes, we do.
And Will, please convey to him that not the river come down of the orange or the swell of the green, but the Jamaican people who believes in him and appreciate him for his contribution today, that we're all praying for him and sending lots of love. Again, I would ask everybody in the chat to just say, just breathe a word of blessing into Andre life by just say, God bless you, Andre, may light continue to shine. God give you, because that way we're sending out there into the energy, all the love and support that we can give him.
What are you saying, Will?
No, continue. Just
okay. Yes. In all our discussion here, as what Luke George just said, that our prayers and well wishes goes out to our colleague, friend, a Jamaican, a young man who stand up. Many of us may not like the way how he goes on. Many of us may not like what he says on his program. But of course, he is a person who stand up for the poorer class of Jamaicans. A person who dedicate his life to help the people of this country. I'm being told by him personally that he spent over $3 million in a back to school thing in September. And Andre, wherever you are, if you're watching this program, Andre, my heart goes out to you, my friend. I pray and hope that you get well, that you can come back and continue to speak for the people that you dearly love. We're not going to stay too long on the program here because I know Mr. Rattigan is getting a bit uneasy.
No, sir. No.
You mean that because they get the key to the beamer?
No.
No, man, Rattigan signal the plane.
No, when
and drive the Jeep.
The Jeep brought down.
No, listen. I want to big up a young lady from out of New Mexico. A passionate listener and somebody who loves Jamaica dearly. She just made a contribution to the One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation. And folks, let me just tell you a little bit, Jeffrey, with your indulgence. Let me just tell you, listening audience.
Go ahead.
Yeah. We're tired of being described as talk shops. And long story short, we established a foundation called One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation. And the purpose of that foundation is to hold politicians accountable. We're interested in good governance. We're interested in democratic principles, and we're interested in the rule of law. Now, those three overarching principles, they cover a lot. But essentially, we're focused on corrupt politicians. And how do we focus on them? We're going to be focused. Well, we started already. We're focused on them through lawsuits. We're going to be focused on them through public relations campaign, like the beach issue, for example. And we're going to be focused on them through background investigations, similar to what the Integrity Commission is doing. We know what the Integrity Commission is doing, but the Integrity Commission, we believe, is hamstrung. Hamstrung, meaning that their investigation is not completely completed. It's not fully completed. Why? because there are things that those politicians have, assets overseas that the Integrity Commission, they don't have a reach. And just think about it. If this lady in Jamaica failed to file, and she forget, can you think about what they have overseas and they're not filing? They're not telling the government about, they're not telling the US government or the country wherever the asset is, and they're definitely not telling the Jamaican government. We intend to find those assets and report them. And so we are looking to establish a relationship with the Integrity Commission. They might not use our information in court, but they can certainly use it as intelligence. It will point them in a particular direction so that they can ask for the information through official channels themselves. And I just want to thank this lady because it came as a surprise call. And she said, I just want to thank you and Jeffrey and all the others doing the work that you're doing, highlighting the ills of Jamaica caused by government policies and government inaction. So I just want to thank her and make a personal plea to all of you that, oh, hold on a second. Andre calling me. Hold on.
Okay.
Continue, Jeffrey.
Yes. As what Mr. Rattigan was saying, make a contribution to the fund that he has trying to set up to assist us as Jamaicans to ramp out the corruption that face our nation. John, you're there with us, and you're a Jamaican who continue to fight for the fundamental rights of the people, who continue to speak out about the backside level, and the all what is going on in Jamaica.
Jeffrey.
Yes.
I have Andre on the line. He said he wants to say a few words. Andre, go ahead, please.
Go ahead, Andre. Go ahead.
Good night, Jamaica, and to the world. Things have not been so hot for me. I've been going through a lot ever since the death of one of my mother, Heather Moiston. I'm going through a lot with all that the other people who were close to me have put me through. But I'm just asking for your prayers, asking for you to ask the Father God to carry me through when I come through the end of myself. Father, carry me. I've thought about suicide. I've thought about suicide. I've thought about suicide.
Andre, I'll tell you what. I'll call you back. All right.
Hold on, Ratty.
Hold on 1 second. Yeah.
Ratty.
Yeah.
Andre, wherever you are now, just breathe, and I'm gonna pray with you. I don't pray publicly, but I'm gonna pray with you and all of us, those on the panel and those.
Just rub me, can't bear no more.
Yeah, Andre.
No. Oh God, me tired, Jamaica. Me just tired.
Oh God. Andre, listen. I'll call you back. All right, just relax. Stay where you are. I'll call you.
Jeffrey.
Go ahead and pray.
Father, you said that we must enter your gates with thanksgiving and we must come before your courts with praise. And right now, Father, we just enter your courts and we enter on behalf of your son. You fashioned him in his mother's womb and you knew him before the time that he was conceived. And you said when our hearts are overwhelmed, Lord, we must come to the rock that is higher than I. And Jesus, you are still the balm in Gilead that heals all of us when we are broken. And tonight you hear the passionate cry of your son crying out, Lord, as he is going through his valley of shadow of death. But Spirit of the living God, we pray that you will go in now and rescue him and arrest him and send your angels to encamp around him. renew in him a clean heart and in him a right spirit, Lord. Father, we pray that you will go into the very deep parts and those intimate hurts and the public display that you have seen in your son, because you created him with a purpose. And Father, purpose can never die. So Jesus, who went to Calvary and died for all of us, Father, we invite you to visit your son in that mental institution. And we come against mental health right now in the name of Jesus. We say, renew in him a righteous mind, Lord God. And Father, go deep within and heal him of the hurt. As you hear him crying, he's crying to you, Lord. Spirit of the living God, we say, rise up and bless your son. We pray that you will whisper peace in the midst of his storm. And that, Lord God, that you will use him as a vessel of honor because you created him. Andre, you will not die, but you will live and declare that God is alive and well, that Jesus paid the price and you are bought with a special price. We ask that the angel encamp it around you. We ask that the blood of Jesus wash you from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet until you are his and you have surrendered all at the altar of sacrifice that must be laid. Father God, we rejoice now that you will walk into this situation, and whatever we cannot do because of our limitation, that you have the divinity to do it. And Spirit of the living God, we leave Andre in the palm of your hands, but help us to be vigilant as he cries out, that we will become the shoulder, the ears, and the feet, and the mouth, and the mind, and the support, that he will know that God, you, Lord, have placed us here because we are his brother, and we should be our brother's keeper. Thank you now for what you're going to do. Thank you for the things that we did not ask, but you know that in our silent meditation is needed for Andre. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. He's aware of what's going on, and he's gonna get some rest now. And he says that he'll call me in the morning. So I'll keep you guys updated on what's going on with him. So yeah, this kind of put a damper on it. I was talking about the one Jamaica League. Well, anyway, it's in the spirit of what Andre has been doing, and that is to hold politicians accountable. So again, the website is up and running. We are still under some construction, but it should be completed by my next broadcast this Saturday, and it's ojldf.org. ojldf.org. One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation. So I urge, and
Mr. Rattigan, why don't you put it in the chat room, sir?
Okay. All right, no problem. I'll put.
Yes. When Luke was there, a lot of people may say that the program took a different turn. Let me say something to you all. If we are on this platform to fight for this blessed rock of ours, when our brother is down, no matter what or how or who, let us continue to pray for him. Luke George Cooke, you did a great job a while ago, my brother. And I want to tell you thanks. I want to tell you thanks because, honestly, I love to pray, but I can't pray like you. And go ahead, Luke.
No. The program took a different turn, but the thing is that this is the real situation that many of us are dealing with. And it's a reminder, Jeffrey, that we see people, but we seldomly don't see the situation and the circumstances that they are enduring. And the passionate cry a while ago speaks to the fact that some of us even suffer in silence. And I would like to say to the audience, as well as us here on the platform, that this is the reason why we need each other. I am because Wilfred Rattigan is. I am because John is. I am because Jeffrey is. I am because everybody who are listening, you are, and because we are affected by the things that happen externally and the things that are happening to us internally. It is the reason why we need to be able to find support groups where we can talk to people. And I'm hoping that if anybody on this platform is ever going through anything, that they can feel that they can call on us, Jeffrey. And if that is not our areas of expertise, then we should be able to point them in a direction. Nobody has to feel as if they're an island unto themselves. I know where Andre is because I know I've been to the point. Well, I mean, I've been to in the down, and I know what it is to feel like you're the only person in the trenches. I know I've cried out, yes, Lord, I'm tired. I wish I don't have to do this or deal with this anymore. I mean, I remember saying to somebody, well, if I'm one of the strongest soldiers, I'm asking God to demit me from that office. I don't want to. And today I said to somebody, why does the Lord have to show me all of this suffering, but he will not give me the latter so that I can respond how I really want to respond to the urgent needs of people who are desperately crying out for help in a country where the privilege that has been bestowed upon our politician, church leaders, or civic leaders, they have just taken that asset and has made it a waste, and yet still it is a Will Rattigan, it is a John, it is a Jeffrey, it is your audience, it's a Freedom, it is a Michelle that constantly gives to Jamaica, but we don't highlight that. And that is why I said, Jeffrey, for all of the downs, we must also celebrate the contribution of everybody in your audience. Likewise, those on your panel. And, I want people to just text in the chat room to say, this is what I'm doing for my country, and this is what I'm doing for myself. But again, never feel that you're alone. And I can tell you, for a Jamaican who goes to his bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and wake up at 6 o'clock, because I'm really trying to find solutions that are going to be effective. If you ever feel like you need somebody to talk to, or you're going through a situation, please feel free to reach out to me. Please feel free to reach out to Jeffrey. Please feel free to reach out to Will and John. We may be able to call on other people, Herb Nelson and others who have the prerequisite skill, as well as the people in this audience. Please say, what is it that you are good at? You're a therapist. You can do a session, Jeffrey, with your therapist, your social worker, how to do your self-care.
I have been thinking about it, Luke, that we need to do a program on mental health. We need to do a program on, so many things. And not just the politics. Because to be honest, sometimes, I'm being honest right now, sometimes I say to Wilfred Rattigan many times, I say to Luke George many times, I am tired of coming on here and talking about the politics of everything. I'm tired of it. And sometimes we have to switch the conversation, because many of us who come on this platform, we have our own problems facing us. But yet, John, we stand up and we speak for the people who are less off than us, for the people who are a little worse off than us. I keep on saying to people, I have a name that everybody associate my name with. I'm not a multimillionaire. I don't come from a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire person. And for us to come together as a people and stand up for each other, we're a brother's keeper. This nation of ours is bleeding from within. Our people are crying out for help. We are crying out for help. And we need to come together. Stop being so divided. We need to come together and cry out. Because we may think that no one will listen. But we serve an awesome God.
Jeffrey.
Go ahead.
Rattigan John, yesterday I was talking to a 14-year-old boy who cannot read. And you know what he said to me? He said, Mr. Cooke, you know that if I could read, I could become a big man in this country. And it really brought tears to my eyes, Rattigan. I don't cry very often, but it brought tears to my eyes. And, you know, I said to him, but just by saying that you're a big man now, because it takes a big man to recognize his weakness. And it takes an even bigger man to say, I need help. And I call Microcare Center and I asked them if they could do an assessment on him, Rattigan. And the director, the executive director, very nice lady, she spoke to me. I was very delighted, but she said, Mr. Cooke, we have on average 8 to 12,000 people on the waiting list. And I hear your passion, and I could make some recommendation as to ultimately where you can go and get the help. But Mr. Cooke, it can take you anywhere from 25,000 to 80,000. And Rattigan, more tears flow, because I'm saying, my God, to give a child the opportunity of a lifetime, it might be because I don't have $80,000. And once the child is assessed, I might not be able to pay for a private tutor to work with this young man. But what I know is that this one is so eager and poised to go in a country that has an education system that perpetuates dunce and children going through the mechanism. And especially for all our children, I'm not going to say especially for boys, no child, Rattigan, no child should have to live through the torment of knowing that because my mother or my parents cannot afford to do the assessment. I will never be given that opportunity to know whether or not that I really had a learning problem, but if the right person, and I'm reaching out to the diaspora to say that when she gave me the construct of the team, you have the clinician, you have the psychologist, you have the social worker, and you have the assessors. And I was told that it was done at Bethlehem and another teachers' college. But Rattigan, imagine this young man was on that list. From he was at primary school, he was referred for this assessment. And every year, she says she has 4 teams to go out. and she gave me the different facets of how this was done. And I asked that, why then is it that we're not training the social workers at UWI? We're not specializing. Why is the ministry not specializing in training these people? So we have more teams to go out. I'm asking Jamaicans, through your fund, Rattigan, to let us look really and truly as to find expertise in these areas that can work and assess specialized children. Let us see if we can formulate a memorandum of understanding with the government. I'm not going to beg anybody to give me 50 or 30,000 or 40,000 to help this young man, because there are so many kids. But if we can really reach out to the government and say, we have experts who can work with children, clinicians who can work with children with learning disability, we have social workers who can work with the family, we have the assessors who can assess these children, and we certainly can come down and do some more sessions to sort of clear the backlog of children with this need. The country is crying out. You take a pay increase when a 14-year-old young man is desperately saying, sir, if I could only read, I believe I could do much better than what I'm doing now.
Look, I wouldn't be involved in the government. He's talking and trying to involve the government. I wouldn't bother with that. I mean, we're talking about a government that's allowed Windelco to build their poison ponds and right next door to Charlie Montel's high school. You know, these are people who don't care. They kill every last Jamaican. They don't care, Will. I mean, Luke. So these are not people you can't bargain with them. That's pointless. We have to do it.
Let me just say that.
Will?
Yeah, two things.
Go ahead.
One is there's a listener, a viewer. She just sent me a note asking how can she make a contribution to the One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation. I think it's in the chat for everyone. It's the ojldf.org. That's the website. You can go there and you can make your donations using a bank card, a credit card, or Zelle. Hopefully by the end of this week, it should be up and running full speed. Second thing is that it's just weird because just yesterday, a dear friend of mine called and said, listen, I think you should have a mental health expert on your program, like this week. And I said, she said, I have somebody who's willing to come on the program. And so she just heard what happened, and she's in the process now. When the show is over, they're gonna call me back and see if we can arrange for her, the mental health expert, to show up this week. And then we'll make the announcement if we're able to do it this week. But by the latest next week, we should have that person on, because this thing is real. And it's all over, and it's untreated in Jamaica. If for nothing else, the prohibitive cost. All right. So whatever we can do from here to help, we will.
Rattigan, I hear that there's a nurse that comes on your program. I think I've heard her once that she wants to do some training with first aid. I would love to have her to work with early childhood parents to teach them how to do first aid. So I don't know if it's something that you'd like her to talk to her about and let us talk about it. I don't know how much time she have on her, but I have 4 schools, basic schools that I'm basically sitting on their board, and I want to teach them first aid in addition to how to work with what we deem as difficult children, and the signs that you can look for to detect early stages of autism in your children. So I don't know if you can make mention to her and see how she feels about it.
Yeah, she's a regular listener, a regular viewer, and a supporter of the program. She is out of Atlanta. She's on almost every week. So yeah, I'll convey that to her, and then we'll go from there. And then also regarding the donation, it's tax exempt. So we would provide a communication for you so that when you file your taxes, you can write it off. So that's one of the perks of making a contribution to a foundation, particularly this one where it's for a really, really good cause.
I just want to say to everybody on YouTube here, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk channel. And also remember to go to the One Jamaica Legal Fund. That's the name of it, Wilfred Rattigan?
One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation.
Right.
Yeah,
go there and see what you can do.
OJLDF.org. That's the website. OJLDF.org.
Go there and see what you can do with this. Luke, someone is asking how they can get in contact with you.
Jeffrey, you know my number, 842-4725 or 772. I'm trying to write something in the chat. I am. It's Luke Isaac. Isaac. No, Isaac, I'm a twin brother. Jeffrey, I'm trying to write something in the chat. But my number is 1-876-842-4725 or 772-1753.
You know, John.
Jeffrey, if you can post it in the chat, because I'm trying to say what I can respond to.
Luke and Ratty and John, we're gonna close the program.
So like a bunch of disciples, right?
Luke, John, James. They said that Luke, George, Cooke, and Isaac Buchanan and so on alike.
We think alike too, but I wouldn't say something that I wouldn't say something that my brother Isaac says.
But Will, as we close this program tonight, we didn't expect the program to end the way how it's gonna end.
Right.
But as we close the program tonight, Will Rattigan, you have become a household name in Jamaica because of what yes, of what you start to do. I remember the first time I took you, I bring you on my program. I called a good friend of mine in London. He is the head of the Jamaican diaspora in London, Dr. Kevin Brown. And you know him.
I've met him online.
Right. And I asked him for your number and he gave me your number. And you came on the program. And from then, you have been coming on this program. You have become a household name in this country, in Jamaica, in our land of living, in the land of wood and water. Till everybody would love to see you in Parliament, in the shakers and movers of the Jamaican society. But you hold on a look, but you decide no. You decide to stay amongst the big mouth of a Jeffrey Tavares who will continue to speak for the poor class of Jamaican, a Luke, George, Cooke, a John, a Wayne Lonesome, a Herb Nelson Jr., and our good friend who is now not well, Andre Stevens. How do you feel, Will, to see where your country is leading? We don't have any mental health institution in our country that stand up for the mental health of Jamaicans. And when our people can't have access to the beach to clear their mind, to go to look at the ocean coming in and have their foot in the water to clear their mind, what will become of this nation of ours, Wilfred Rattigan?
Well, it's a good question. I had a few years ago, I had no inkling that I would be doing this. None whatsoever. This was not planned. This was just organic. It just happened. Part of it is because, we used to sit around and we used to describe Jamaica in derogatory, gray, harsh terms. And then I stopped and said, well, wait a minute, hold on one second. If everybody should criticize Jamaica instead of helping Jamaica, then we're part of the problem. In fact, we're a major part of the problem, because some of us have accumulated wealth, some of us have accumulated skill sets, things that are necessary to a developing country. And in light of Vision 2030, that's where we should be focused. And so I ended up here and started looking at various activities of politicians. And then, the picture behind me, that's one of my primary inspirations. I come inside here and then I just look at that picture, because for those of you who don't know, and I'll say it for the 100th time, that's my first house in Waterhouse, right? And that's a recent picture. That picture was taken a few months ago. And so when I come here and I still have relatives living in Waterhouse, I still have friends living, I get calls from them daily. And so when I sit here, it's a constant reminder to me that I haven't made it until all of them people behind me have the opportunity to make it. And if you notice, I didn't say that all of them must make it, but at least give them the opportunity to make it. And that's just a microcosm of what Jamaica is like. Because most of Jamaica, I dare say, like that place. And so when I sit here, I'm fighting for all of those people. And I'm doing this out of passion. I'm doing this out of love. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this for position. I'm not doing this for power. Because I've said to several people, they said, oh, what if the government offered you a position? Would you take it? I said, no, because you know what? I want to be in a position where I can criticize the government and hold the government accountable to its people. To me, I would be less effective joining, the government, this government or any government. I mean, yeah, I could fight from within, but it's much easier fighting from outside, because you're not muzzled. You can say exactly what you feel like saying, and there are lots of things that you can do from this platform that you cannot do if you accept a position with the government. And if I have to accept a position with the government, it would be in an advisory position. And when I say government, I'm talking about any government. And it would be, I know dear friend of mine is watching, and I know she's saying, don't say it, but I'm going to say it. I do it for free, right? I do it for free, because where I am in life is as a direct result of that place behind me, that community, the teachers, my mother, my father, my neighbors, and the Almighty. Cannot turn my back on these people. And I've reached a stage in life where I cannot, and I won't, and I don't have to, right? So I spend all of my time here trying to hold politicians accountable, and I will continue to do so until the service deliveries start to roll in, the donor funds start to go where they're supposed to go, and the government start taking care of the people as they should and as they promised. We've been promised prosperity, but that prosperity happened to, and is still happening to, a select few, not the people from behind me. They're still thinking about what's for dinner, what's for breakfast tomorrow, how they're going to send their children to school, how they're going to pay their bills, how they're going to do this, how they're going to do that. Life is a constant struggle for those people. And if there's if because of my efforts, one person won't have to think like that, I consider myself a success. Just one. But I'm not satisfied with one. I want the community. And I need them to know, and this is very important, do not sell your soul for $5,000 and a two-piece chicken and a baseball cap. Do not. And I said, not your vote, your soul, because that's what you're selling. That's exactly what you're selling. Come together as a community, rally around the issues, hold your MPs and your councillors accountable. And I trust that what I'm doing will be an inspiration to all of you, to let you understand that them put on them pants just like how you put on your pants. Them eat just like how you eat. It's just through the grace of God they're in a position that you consider superior, but it's not, because you put them there. And just as how you put them there, you can remove them. And that is what I'm about, removing the crooked politicians so that the benefits can flow to the people and people can have an opportunity to improve their lives. Who want to get rid of this bogus, this inconsequential minimum wage that can't feed the people them down there. Cannot. So I just want to thank you, Jeffrey, for giving me the platform to come out and from way back until now, to come out and just share my feelings with the people and let them know that, listen, at the end of the day, it's about people, it's about policies, and it's about production. For me, it's never about party and it's never about politics. Never. I just want to make sure that my people, and when I say my people, I mean it with every fiber of my being, that my people get the opportunity to surpass what I've done in life. That's what I'm hoping for. That people just use me as a benchmark and say the minimum we want to get to is whatever Rattigan achieved. That's the minimum. But we want to better than that. And I will help as much as I can to get people there who are interested in getting there. So, Jeffrey, thank you very much. I think I've said enough. I'm still kind of torn up inside because of Andre, and so I'm communicating with him right now. But yeah, it's ripping me apart. So
I am too, my friend. John, can I go to Luke next?
Yeah. So I've been here since 2013, and I know for a fact that there are solutions, simple solutions. The things I talk about, they're all about prudence. I'm not asking the government, to go and spend money they don't have. Just simple things. Just be prudent with people's money. It's the people's money. It's not their money. They don't earn money. They use the people's money. These simple things that they can enact. We don't have, our education is poor beyond belief. It's underfunded. And you could easily fund education better, just simply by taking schools off the grid. Look at the amount of deaths we have on the road. And the crimes on the road. They're all committed because as soon as the sun goes down, the roads are in complete darkness. So we could have solar powered lights. And remember that every year the government pays JPS, and JPS just doesn't provide us with a service. So we're paying for lighting that we don't get. We have a government again who decided that this is 2023, and we have communities without electricity in this day and age. How can that be true when it was very simple for the government to say that, okay, then JPS isn't doing what they're supposed to do, then we'll put in a couple wind turbines and put the solar panels into these areas so people can have electricity and children can do their own work at night. Simple things like that. We don't have water because Holness said this and Samuda said it. It's because of a high energy bills of why we don't have water. So the simple solution for that is solar power our water, isn't it? Simple solution. However, they won't do it. And what really hurts me is that Parliament's full of women. And you're thinking, didn't they ever go to school? Our girls were in school. How do teenage girls cope at school with no running water when it's that time of the month? And that's how you leave them? Not one of these female parliamentarians I've ever heard speak about these issues, what girls must have at school. Favour Williams said 50% of schools have water issues. And that's it. And then because we don't have any journalists, no journalist turns around and says anything about it. And then what do they do at the university? These conversations that we've been having and what Luke was just talking about, these are discussions that they're supposed to be having in the university. We have people say that they're an education professional or something like that. And what are they doing? I've never heard them come up with any good ideas about trying to fix education. A simple solution for fixing education. We have AI now. Why isn't that where we have schools where they do not have teachers? Why don't we just have them beaming from one school to another? So if all our chemistry classes were all held at 10 o'clock, then all the schools that don't have a chemistry teacher, they could all log in and be taught at the same time. So there are solutions, but unfortunately, we say we don't have any journalists. I don't know what they do at university. Clueless. I went to a good university. I know that when we sat around and what we talked about, but we're just devoid of people who just I don't know. It's just fear, isn't it? We have this mentality that if I speak out, I'm going to get whacked by the government. Well, so be. I mean, can we actually live like that, just in fear all the time? And what they say, two wrongs don't make a right, do they? They just don't. And that's why people like myself, I have to continue doing what I'm doing, because say two wrongs don't make a right. There are simple solutions here. And until everybody comes on board and start talking about the same thing all the time, banging it home to the people, then the people might rise up and say, yeah, Tavares is right, Rattigan's right, Lennon's right, Luke's right. But I travel around, so I'm in Jamaica, and I never hear anybody mention any of these names, especially up in the rural areas. People are clueless about these platforms. We need a bigger reach, and I think we can only get a bigger reach is when we get major league influencers on board. Your Buju Banton. He talks our language, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem that these kind of messages reach him. If this message reached him, Popcorn, and all these people, I think we could have transformation very, very quickly. So if anybody out there is listening and they know any of these influencers, get in contact with them. If you're always on certain platforms, ask them why they're not talking about the debt. Ask them why they're not talking about bauxite. You can't have Windalco. I'm going to stop there.
No, man, finish up the Windalco piece, man.
Say it again. You can't have a company, a foreign company, building the poison ponds right next to a school. How can you allow that as a government? You have your own black people and you allow these foreigners to come and do that? These things kill dementia, cancer, every respiratory illness that you can think of. That's a breeding ground that is there in our communities. And we have a so-called government leaders, and this is what they allow. And then they say that we don't even get a dime, not even a red cent for the bauxite. We don't have any value as black people, and we won't rise up against this. I don't get it, and that's what really upsets me. Because I would die tomorrow happily in a fight for it. But I just don't see anybody feeling that way. I'll stop there.
Thanks very much, John, for your closing remarks. Luke?
Look, on Saturday evening at 6 o'clock, my grandaunt died at 101, and I remember about 4 years ago, she said something to me that just resonated with me. I was venting something to her about my frustration with just the direction of the country. She said two profound things to me. She said, sometimes my son, you have to be sold into Potiphar's house for you to understand when you take up your position in the kingdom. And then she said that every good fruit that comes from a tree, sometimes manure, shit, has to be the purifying agency that helps to purify that fruit to its full development. But lastly, Jeffrey, I remember she said, all your suffering that you have endured and will endure, it is really equipping you for your fulfillment of purpose. We must be committed to the task at hand. We must, as John says, make our voice be heard. We must make good trouble. It is to our generation that GOV spoke, that Paul spoke, that Samsha spoke, that Nani spoke, and some of the other founding fathers, that we have an incredible responsibility. John says we have to take the message of the gospel to the four corners of Jamaica, to the man up there in Mucko, from Negril Point to Moran Point. And we can in this day and age do that. And we should not fail in the dereliction of duty. We also have a responsibility to create and cultivate ideas tested and tried that can pull our people out of the circumstances that they are now, the Stockholm syndrome that they are in, that they have been so captivated by the negativity that they are just dying for a burst of what you call the awakening of what is possible and what can happen. We have to take it to the people in the street. We have to engage our young men and women in the corner talks that we need for them to understand and know why we're fighting for this rock, to get them excited about the possibility that we all can. And I believe that it is by no means a coincidence that we are here tonight as the bridge and the beacon of hope to a Jamaica that, although it is broken and it is plagued with the twin scourge of crime and violence, that's not the Jamaican story that we're going to be writing. That 10 years from now, that John, Rattigan, Tavares, Cooke, and every member of your audience would have become a director of Jamaica, and we would play our part in advancing the welfare of the entire human race by getting up and be accounted. And that's not lip service. That requires action. It requires a commitment, a dedication like no other dedication. We have to fight for the heart and soul of this country. And we have to take it back from the reckless rulers that we have entrusted with it. So like the man who attended the vineyard, once he left, the workers took it over. But we have returned, and we have to return not just by paying platitude to the people, but by virtue of our action, thoughts, and deeds. Show them that there are people in Jamaica who still love this country, and we are willing to do whatever it takes. Rattigan says, I'm going to do it for free. No, it's not for free. Whatever you do, my brother, to the least of these, you do it unto me. It is what is going to be written in the pages of the next chapter of your life, because what we do in this life will echo into eternity. Somebody will get up and said, Wilfred Rattigan changed my life for the better, because he was willing to stand up for Jamaica. Freedom was willing to stand up for Jamaica. Michelle was willing to stand up for Jamaica. John was willing to stand up for Jamaica. And I dare say, whatever the cause is, let them know that we have not gone gently into this good night. We are willing to fight for the heart and soul of Jamaica, because that is what is imprinted in our DNA.
Thank you very much, Luke George Cooke, Wilfred Rattigan, Dr. John Lennon. Time and time again, I come on this program, and people may say, oh, Jeffrey has a big mouth, although he's chat. Like what the Secretary General of the Commonwealth says, she don't chat. But we have to speak. We're organizing ourselves to have a program of solution, to speak about the solution of this great nation of ours. I grew up in a home where my grandmother always said to me, Jeff, one of these days you're going to become a politician. And everybody thought that way. But when I leave high school, went on to college and everything like that, I realized that I don't think being in parliament is for me. Because I will not be muzzled by a speaker of a house as the people's house. I will not be led by a prime minister who believes that he's the next Xi Jinping of China, or the next Vladimir Putin of Russia, or the little rocket man from North Korea. I want freedom for my people. We must have the right to speak. We must have the right to stand up. We must have the right to demonstrate. We must have the right to speak out about what is going on in this great country of ours. And time again, we come on the platform and we say to ourselves, our people may say Wilfred Rattigan and a Jeffrey Tavares and a Luke George Cooke and a John and others don't have nothing to do. All they do is bring down the country. No, we are not. And a lot of people don't like me to speak about this, but I'm going to speak. There's a young lady within the People's National Party by the name of Gabriella Morris. And when I see her speak, I see the passion for Jamaica in her. And that's the passion we must have for this country. No matter what people may do or say about you, God knows they say a lot about me. And they try to scam me, but what the hell? I'm still standing. But we the favorite few, stand up and rally around a single cause and a single purpose. But we must tell them that we came to this rock by labor pain, not by aeroplane. That we must stand up for the fundamental rights of this country. A nation that is knocking behind Haiti's back door. Is this the Jamaica we truly want to leave for children? Or we want to see a better Jamaica? Well, my fellow Jamaicans, the change that we seek lies in the hands of we, the Jamaican people. The change that we so seek will never come from the People's National Party or the Jamaica Labour Party, or the UIC, or the National Democratic Movement. That's to come from us as a people. And I say to you tonight, my fellow Jamaicans, both home and abroad, did a piece of time come? Well, the time has come for us to rise up, get in some good trouble, and take back this rock. Fight for the soul and the democracy of this country. Because if we don't, who will? It makes no sense for all of us to pack up and try and get a visa and leave. It makes no sense. But yet, because of social and economic crisis that may face us, many of us have to. Stand up for what you believe in. Fight for what you believe in, Jamaica. And the People's National Party should gain state power tomorrow morning, and they're acting the way how the Labour Party acting, I will be the first person to come on this platform and speak out against them. As I tell people time and time again, my gay box is mash up. As I tell people time and time again, my gay box mash up. I can need a 7 or 11. I can need a 7 or 11. Because one thing I want and one thing I will fight for till my last breath, that they don't take away the freedom from our people and the right to speak. As we end tonight, I just want to say to you all, may God bless Jamaica, that land that we love. May God bless the people of our country. May God provide for the people of our country. And may we continue to fight the fight for a better Jamaica, for a better country for our children. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I want to thank my good friends, Wilfred Rattigan, Luke George.
But before you go, Jeffrey, we're voting you for the next Speaker of the House of Representatives. And we're going to give you some turbo skin back for build back the the gearbox of mashup. Ratty, we have to give Jeffrey some of the power punch. we can't leave the man out there out of gear.
No. You need the power punch, man, because then him can't fly the plane for it up.
No. One person fly.
Yeah. We can't mash up the Jeep. You have to go rev up the Jeep speaker. Elder statesman. But Jeffrey, it's not too late for a shower of rain. We welcome you back to the land of wood and water for your first term in the People's Movement Party of Jamaica, headed by
Wilfred Rattigan.
Wilfred Rattigan. John, Herb Nelson. We have to get some radical women like Michelle and some of these other firebrand on there who are gonna say, "Oh, then I draw my tongue, don't draw my tongue."
No, man, we'll put John in charge of everything having to do with bauxite, clean energy, and having be the overseer for the debt. An investment.
That way it won't be every 75 cents for the debt and 25 cents to run a country. We will have a minister who knows how to balance the budget.
Exactly.
I say, John, you are excellent for renewable energy. You're excellent for energy saving because you're excellent for finance, and you're not going anywhere. We are going to St. Thomas go work something.
No man, call D. Lawrence, man.
Remember, you know, somebody said they have an uncle who is whatever in St. Mary, you know.
Me have one at St. Elizabeth.
Well, Jeffrey, we have some serious prayer warrior on the team. So look here, every demon and every spirit of darkness have to back up. A time for good people rise up, and
yes,
we summon the spirit of Almighty God to place us in position that we can be taken to Potiphar's house just to be able to go into the kingdom to take up our rightful position. I'm ready. I'm ready, Wilfred and Jeffrey and John. When you're ready,
right. I am asking everyone on this platform.
The four desperados.
So, on Lonesome program cover the Fantastic Four, but no only four desperados.
Well, since we don't want to be liable for plagiarism, we have to change it up. Okay. But it equates to the same.
Indeed.
I am asking everyone who is viewing this channel, if you have not liked, share, and subscribe, please do so. Share this feed as we're going to go off air, but share it to everyone so they can subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. The next time I come on, who knows, maybe I'll bring on somebody out of the opposition or somebody out of the government. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe they'll come on my program. I was asked to apologize to somebody who I end up calling up names today. And if I offend anybody within my family, I want to apologize to them. And I want to apologize to the president of the Jamaican Senate, the goodly gentleman, the president of the Senate, Mr. Tom Tavares Finson. I was ridiculed today by a family member, so I'm apologizing to you, sir, if I offended you in any way. But anyway,
and Jeffrey, but Jeffrey, why do you feel the need to apologize? He has offended us in many ways. He has lived the lie of a Jamaica Labour Party that has robbed this country. Don't apologize to people anymore. You're not going to say everything to please everybody. Speak your truth, because truth, pressed down, Martin Luther King says, will rise up again. When we apologize, we're saying that we were wrong in how we see it. Everybody have a perspective, you know, but everybody must be tolerant. We have been underserved by liars like Mr. Tavares and others who speaks about the love that they have for these people. And while they preach progress and prosperity, the people live in absolute poverty. And that is on Mr. Tavares' shoulder, not on yours. Wash your hands of his sin and continue to be truthful to your heart. Not apologizing. I'm sorry. I'm not too big for apologize, but Jesus I forgot to tell me when to do it. Me not apologize. And if I've offended any member of my family, so be it. I hope that you go chuck off at flag box.
Remember, say him name Tavares, you know. And by the way, Jeffrey, while you made that statement to him, I would like him to know that he left me in midstream. I'm still waiting for him to tidy up the business that we started, you know. So if he would, give me a call or text me. So
Ratty, me want to talk to you about Andrew, but me call you tomorrow.
All right, no problem.
Freedom, you're so right. Freedom, you are so right. Thank you. Gentle people, on the behalf of my producer of this program, who I haven't seen in a long while. Go ahead, Ratty.
No, I'm fine.
Oh. On the behalf of my producer, who I haven't seen in a long time, Owen Brown, I tried to call, like not getting a hold of him at all. Anyway, he only put up things and leave it and gone. On behalf of my producer and everyone who makes this show possible, the Make We Talk program, Luke George Cooke, Wilfred Rattigan, Herb Nelson Jr., John Lemon, Lemon.
John Lennon.
Yes, sorry. Oh God, I always give people a different name. Thank you all for coming on. Thank you. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares channel. And also this Saturday, join our good friend Wilfred Rattigan and Reason Rattigan, where he'll be speaking to some distinguished people about Jamaica's constitution and other discussions. Ratty?
Yes, sir. Reason with Rattigan this Saturday at 3 p.m. New York time, 2 p.m. Jamaica time, on Reggae Global Radio, YouTube, and Facebook. And we're going to be talking about Chapter 3 of the Constitution, Fundamental Rights and Freedoms. And we're going to have a special presentation entitled, Will the Real Bro God Please Stand and Be Acknowledged? And we're going to do it through the prism of the Constitution, and we'll show you not who Bro God is, but who the real Bro God is. Tune in for that. Don't miss it.
All right, Bro God. Anybody see the man clouds?
Thank you very much. I go to my bed now. To the real clouds. Luke,
Yeah.
as what the former prime minister would have said, I can see the victory, my comrades. The victory is near, my comrades.
But then Pernell did say it's not his wall, but Portia wall. I leave it at that. John, I will call you tomorrow.
All right, my brother. Go talk.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
John, thank you. John, thank you for coming
big
on,
up on yourself, big up to the audience. Let us keep praying. If anybody needs to reach out to me, my number is in the chat. I will be happy to speak with you at any point. And I will wait there. A brown.
Man.
Yeah, man. Okay. I would take two different foot in a 10.5.
Oh my God. No.
So you have to tune in Saturday and watch our presentation.
Yeah, man. We're there with you.
All right, my brother.
That true bro God is the man that goes around and yam. Anyway.
Don't give it nothing, man. Don't give it nothing. The people them tune in.
Will is the second is the coming of the bro gods. Are the gods of all gods.
And then I'll again keep Andre in your prayers, and then I'll keep you guys posted about what happens.
Yes.
So
no man, we're gonna light up prayer for Andre, man. We want 21 powerful people. I pray for Andre for the next 21 days. And at the last day, Will Rattigan of the 21 is a 1-day fast that starts from 6 in the morning to 12. And that has to break the chains that bind that young man and release him of the demons that were put on him when he went into the house of Satan and they corrupted him in that house. You would not even understand the spiritual element of the battle that young man is fighting. Just the insight that he deemed and what he had to suffer in there. Some of us would never make it out. So that's a special young man right there. That's a very special young man right there. We don't understand the level of spiritual wickedness in the high places in this country.
And like Andrea said, she said, Ratty, beg them for left your signal Saturday. Well, we're working on that right now, and it's getting better. Because last week, gonna laugh. Last week we had few interruptions. We had interruptions last week, but not as many as previously. So I'm speaking to them all of this week, and we're getting we have some new equipment here. I wish I could show you the equipment, and we're getting better equipment. I think we're supposed to get some tomorrow. So because Saturday is going to be a very, very special show. So again, people, tune in and be informed. All right, Jeffrey.
General people, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you.
All right.
And remember that we need to stand up and rally around a young man who needs our prayer. Because you see what they have in Spanish Town the other day about don't you trouble Zion? You see what they have in Spanish Town the other day? But don't you trouble Zion? Anyway, make I behave myself tonight.
All right,
Don't make I start with the talking of tongues like my good friend Luke George. Make I behave myself tonight.
All right.
Have a good night, everyone. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel.
Right,
until you hear
care.
my voice
Bye-bye.
again. May
All
God
right.
bless you and may God bless Jamaica land we love. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
All right.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk, people.
Do you need graphic design services? Or maybe you need branding for your business? How about multimedia production services? Contact Browns Media and Graphics at 876-877-1870. Browns Media and Graphics, developing your ideas, creating your style.
You know, see, all now when the leader them now look down. All our people them we want to see a better Jamaica. Let me see this. Level, take them down. You're not gonna see a better Jamaica till you start vote for the country and the policy. And not a MP, a prime minister, nor a councillor, but the policy they presented. We don't vote for party or personality, we vote for policy.
Find him, Papa Dad. Dubplate. Get rid of this evil prime minister.
That jaded mean you must dip in it. But I say to Andrew Holdings, you better understand that puts a run wild in a JD.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
Do you want to talk about what's happening in your community or share your thoughts on national issues? Then tune in to Make We Talk Tuesdays with yours truly, Jeffrey Tavares. This and every Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. Join the conversation by calling 876-372-8446 or 876-225-9478 on YouTube at Roots FM Jamaica and Facebook at Roots FM JA. That's Make We Talk this and every Tuesday on Roots 96.1 FM, the voice of the inner city.
Do you need graphic design services? Or maybe you need branding for your business? How about multimedia production services? Contact Browns Media and Graphics at 876-877-1870. Browns Media and Graphics, developing your ideas, creating your style.